Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. It is, despite what you may think, it is nice to be here. It is nice to be here with my boys this morning, with you guys in the YouTube chat. You guys listening out there, really appreciate it. Obviously, probably going to be a tough listen if you love the Padres like we do, and I hear and see your passion every day. Probably going to be a tough listen, as it has been the last few days, but many of you are committed to being here regardless, and I really appreciate that. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl, our executive producer, and handles a lot of business for this program, a lot. Got us all dialed in last night on our member YouTube chat. We had a lot of fun. We'll have some audio from that, I do believe. Things went a little haywire.
Got to edit.
Got to
Censor
edit.
it.
Yeah, censor it because it's uncensored. This show is censored. But this man to my left is always censored. Benjamin R. Higgins censors himself. Will not let a curse word emit from his mouth.
Good morning.
Hi.
I may be a little more uncensored today.
Spicy.
Today,
Kung
you know,
Pao-
you,
hold on,
you
hold
said
on.
you're glad to be here today.
Kung Pao Ben today?
A little bit.
Yes. I love Kung Pao
I
Ben.
remember the many years that I was just getting started in this business, or even before, when I was just a listener to sports talk radio and a fan and not working in this industry. And these were the kind of days that I would remember. I wish I had a show where I could just come in and
yes.
just light someone up
Yeah.
and be mad and give my opinions, and everyone could listen to what
Everyone
I had to
will
say.
love what I say.
Just fire everybody up, or even if they don't,
you.
it'll feel therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Because when you can shout in your car all you want when your team gets, screwed, or they're playing poorly. Either way, you can shout in your car. You can say to your wife or your friend, however much you want. It doesn't count as much unless you have a microphone and a big stick and lots of people listening.
He is spicy this morning.
Told you, I'm feeling
cow.
spicy this morning. I'm only getting started.
I got a microphone. I got
You
a
got
big
4 hours.
stick. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go in on multiple people this morning.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I would say temper yourself for a while. We got a long time to
Maintain your stick.
Well, I got multiple targets. I can go here to there with my spiciness on a Thursday morning.
I just hope I'm not in the line of fire, and Paulie
might be.
Sweet innocent Paulie in the line of
Paul, you're good.
fire. Oh, okay.
I'm good.
Yeah,
You're good.
I might be. We talked yesterday, Benny, about you thought, hey, you know what would be funny is after the season if you did the bit where you did my schedule, me doing
Correct.
your schedule. Well, you wanted it. You asked for it. You got it, because I'm today on the Ben Higgins sleep schedule. I could not sleep. And the reason why, the result was terrible. It was terrible. And the season has been terrible. And it's all bad. But it wasn't what kept me up last night. I made a colossal mistake. When I go to sleep at night, every night, I watch something. Documentary,
Same.
show, whatever. I sometimes, very rarely will read, but that helps. But
My mom gave me a TV when I was like 15 in my room, and I was kind of screwed after that. I always fell asleep with the TV on, and now that just is how
that's
has
how
to be.
it goes. I got AirPods in, so I'm scrolling through my bevy of apps to find something, anything to watch, and I feel like I've watched every freaking thing. My buddy gave me a great recommendation called 000, but it's mostly in Italian. So that's kind of hard to fall asleep to. You really have to pay attention. So I'm like, I need something else. I was going to try that one. So I looked and saw The Bear. Season 2 is out. And I go, oh, I really liked season 1. It was good. So we're talking probably 9. What time did the game end?
Game ended around 9:40, 15.
Okay,
It wasn't that late.
So after I got my, did my nightly routine and everything, and I got in bed, got all cozy, I put on The Bear. Did you watch season 1?
I have not. Shelly watched it, and I saw bits and pieces while she was watching it, but I need to go back and get the whole thing. I think I would probably like it.
I think you would. It's very well done. Bro, it's frantic. It's a frantic show. and all of the characters are frantic as they try to build this restaurant. So my brain essentially, when I was lying in bed, it was like that, that Daft Punk song, the "Around the World, Around the World."
I've never heard you sing it, but I do know that.
Are there
world.
any more lyrics other than those three
That's
words?
it. The whole song is "Around the World, Around the World, Around the World." So that was my brain. That show's on, and my brain is going around the world, around the world, and I'm lying there going, "Please, God, please, if you're listening, it's me, Woodsy. Put me to sleep right now." For good, even. Just put me to sleep.
End this.
Around the world, around the... And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. 1 o'clock in the morning. I finally dozed off. Had maybe the worst nightmare I've ever had about someone kidnapping somebody and being in my house and Hannah finding a video of him and us identifying who it was. And like he wanted to kill us. It was a nightmare. A nightmare. 4 a.m. comes, the alarm goes off. I go, I got 3 hours of sleep. That show, while brilliant, can only be watched at like noon. You just
bedtime.
It is chef, and they're banging, they're building this new restaurant, and you're just like,
don't talk back to me when I need scallions. Yeah, you bring me the
shut up, chef. And it's a train wreck. So I woke up this morning and I go, all right, well, that's one day. I go, there's just no way. There is no way I could do it. There's just no way I could get it. So I feel like I'm losing it. Like I'm already sleep deprived after just one day.
Do you have that feeling? Yeah, somehow like your skin feels a little more sensitive.
Yes, and like you're a little nauseous.
Yes, a little queasy, and your skin feels just a little like there's a little electricity or something on it.
And I feel like
that's sleep deprivation.
I feel like I could cry.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I could snap. Like one of two. There's no like, I feel pretty good. I can put my feet up. We'll have a great combo. I feel like I'm either going to cry today or I'm going to storm out of the studio. So I have no idea how the rest of this. I hate you, dude. So that's all I heard.
I wonder how much the lyricist got paid for that.
That's my brain. Last night.
All right, guys. Yeah, you're killing it. Here's my idea. Around the world.
Around the world.
And the song, it's all you say, the entire song.
What should we call it? How about Around the World? All right, let's do it. I mean, that's all I heard. I hate you for this, by the way. I hate this.
And that's literally the whole song.
It's the whole song, yeah. There's nothing else but that. So my brain is just fried, and that's all I heard, and that's now, thank you to Paulie, all I'm gonna hear for the rest of the day. So that was something. That was really something.
Had a lot of fun though last night. Thank you to all of our YouTube members who joined us. We had our members only Padres screening.
It was great.
I'm not sure if it made it better or worse to share that experience of last night's game with
can't play anymore,
a group, but
it was a little therapeutic. I think
it helped a little bit to be able to just.
I mean, one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
It really was. I mean,
what are we doing
when Jesse Agler lets loose? You know,
spicy Jesse, spicy Ben.
Moderate Jesse goes in on the umpires and the replay officials. And
I hate it. You're going to drive people to turn the channel off.
All right, we already had people saying, I love you guys. I can't do it again. I can't do it again.
I know.
So and who cares? It's our fun day then.
But when you have like Jesse going in, I saw multiple tweets from Giants fans in the Bay Area going, I'll take it. I'm glad they won, but no idea why the Giants got that call. That had to be one of the more egregious calls. Everyone who has watched baseball ever seemed to agree that the replay officials in New York screwed the Padres over last night.
It was one of the worst calls you'll ever see around the world.
Yeah. It was a bad one. It was bad. It was really bad. I guess I thought you would be the guy. I guess I'll be the guy.
What guy? Is there another guy out there? I really didn't meet the other perspective.
The other perspective is you still can't hit with runners in scoring position. It's 1 for 12. Like, I get it. It sucks. It changed it changed the entire complexion of the game, but this team doesn't hit with runners.
Well, yeah. Well, that is
we're-
very true. I hate that. I really do hate that argument because every game, every team, relies on if you get enough bad breaks. Like the Dodgers won 2-0 last night over the Angels. Great pitching. If the umpires had made a mistake that cost them 3 runs, they would have lost the game too. You can't just simply go, well, because they couldn't hit, they didn't deserve to win.
What though? All right, if they get 3 more hits with runners in scoring position, we win that game.
Right.
2 more hits.
But you could say that about almost every team in every game. That if they got 3 more hits with runners in scoring position, they would have won the game that they had lost. Most baseball games are fairly close. They're decided by 1 to 3 runs. Yeah, there's some blowouts, but the majority are decided by a few runs, and almost always another big hit or 2 for either side would make a difference in a game. So to just dismiss a horrible call and say, well, they didn't deserve to win anyway because they didn't get enough hits with runners in scoring position.
I don't think it's the deserve to win, but I think you could have won that game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They could have won that game.
That call notwithstanding. And you said it in the chat last night, and when it happened, and we'll get into all this today, but you said in the chat last night, oh, maybe this will fire them up. And I just kind of scoffed because I said, there's nothing. Like, nothing has fired this team up. Bob's been thrown out. They've gotten, absolutely bent over.
What were you looking for?
Calls.
I mean, they scored twice, fought to the end, put runners on, got the tying run up. They just couldn't get a big hit. They're fired up until the point that someone gets to second base.
What inning was that in?
That was in the 5th.
And we didn't score till the 8th.
They scored in the 7th and 8th, and they got runners on the last 3 innings. They got the tying run up the last couple of innings. To me, that's showing fight. That's showing heart. That's what you're looking for. I refuse to believe that the Padres are into every game until a guy gets to second base and then they go, yeah, all right, we're good. Let's stop trying now.
You refuse to believe it, but that's actually the case.
I know it's not the case. They're clearly, they get out there and they try to do too much. They're pressing still. They're still pressing when there are runners at second and third.
And I'm with you. But the call was ass, and this team stinks. Both things can be true. They just stink. They stink. 3 games is their max. That's the most games they can put together and wins. 3 in a row. They stink. That's a stinky, crappy team. It's just a crappy team. Well, I'm on my deathbed right now going, all right, I see the light. Take me. I'm ready. Like, I see.
I don't know. I'm not 100% willing to go there. Obviously, they're not as good as we thought they would be. I've seen so many bad teams. 2021. Remember 2021 when they were so terrible in the second half?
Horrible.
This isn't that.
It's worse.
No. Are you kidding me? Remember,
did we have Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, Manny Machado?
Well, it's more frustrating, but like in 2021, they had 2 starting pitchers at the end of the year.
That was awful.
And they'd lose those 2 games close, like one of these.
Right.
And then they get absolutely slaughtered and have no chance in any of the 3 games.
We knew that was coming. Coming.
Which makes it maybe less frustrating. But that team was much worse. That team stunk in the second half. That team was putrid. This team is in every single game.
Paulie,
they're in every. There's literally.
Pull the record in 2021 where they were at this time. On that crappy stinky team.
Right about the same.
I think they were ahead.
Do you think they're going the other direction? Do you
2021, right around this time, it was mid to late June where they swept the Dodgers.
Yeah.
At Petco Park, and we were the best team in baseball, best record in baseball.
Yes, it was right around the All-Star break. We were the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
We wasn't like this.
No, I remember that.
We weren't 4 games down.
No, I remember that vividly. I mean, it wasn't until July. I mean, a couple pitchers went down.
Yeah, and that was injuries.
We had the Scherzer trade that never happened.
Yep. Trade deadline. We were a good team. We were a good team, and then we went off a cliff. We're not a good team. We can't string together 4 wins in a row. I'm not asking for a Reds-like run or a Giants run, or all these teams are putting these runs together. team went 4 in a row. We haven't done it one time.
Here, I
That's
got
not
it.
a good baseball team. We're just not.
2021. Let's go to the first half of the season.
Yeah, I feel like we were rolling.
Today's this 22nd. I mean, yeah. So it was that series against the Dodgers was the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of June.
So right now,
In the middle of that was a sweep in the middle of a 1, 2, 3, 4. We swept a 4-game series against the Reds, then swept 3 games against the Dodgers, and then won 2 of 3 against the Diamondbacks in that stretch. This date in 2021, the Padres were 44-32.
yeah, we stink. This stinks. With worse talent. Like
At the All-Star
way
break, they
inferior
were
talent.
53-40.
Way inferior talent that year. And I get the frustrating part, but we're splitting hairs here. Is it frustrating or are they bad? Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, L is an L is an L is an L. Whether it's 14-1 or 3-2, in my opinion, that's how I feel. I don't want to argue with you because I told you I'm going to cry or storm out. So that's where I'm at right now.
I mean, they got to it was late, dude. They got 2021. They got to August 21st. They were 69-57, still 12 games above 500.
I don't want
then it
people
started to
to
crumble.
read me wrong and say, "Oh, Ben's apologizing for these Padres and everything is fine." It's not. It's far, far from it. I'm just saying that the problem continues to be hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
That
that hasn't changed.
That is the problem. It's been the problem the whole season.
All right, we got to go to break. We're way late. Let's come back. Whose ditty is it?
I lost mine. It is our listeners' ditty. Yeah, our winner yesterday.
Hopefully it's Daft Punk
Joe.
around the world.
Joe gets the ditty selection. We'll come back and then we'll get into. I want to play how Jesse reacted to the call in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Dude, I only heard a snippet and I go, I can't wait. I cannot.
I'm going in on Major League Baseball this morning. How can you run a sport as pathetically and poorly as they have, and even allow for something like this to happen?
Rob Manfred's like, no problem.
It blows my mind.
You got it.
That you could be so ill prepared to administer your own sport. We'll get to all of that coming up. Eno Saris will be with us at 8:35. I'm sure he's got some thoughts on this as well. He's a smart guy. Get his takes at 8:35. Play a little game of real or fake on a Throwback Thursday. Stay tuned. It's Ben and Woods getting started here on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
I'm unfamiliar, Paulie. What am I listening to?
This is listener Joe's Daily Ditty selection. It is called Adrian by Eurythmics, Annie Lennox,
Yeah.
Dave Stewart. Duet, I guess. I mean, we made our rule. Like,
We made our rule.
Can't really be a band like
Right.
Fleetwood Mac. A
not a
Fleetwood Mac
duet.
song is
They do
not a
duet.
duet.
You beat Woods, you do what you want, though. With
Yes,
the Daily
and,
Ditty.
and he followed the theme for the most part. So
I haven't.
Eurythmics deep track. Haven't
Adrian.
get a lot of that, but not very pretty. And anything Annie Lennox sings to me
Yeah, beautiful voice.
sounds good.
I haven't won Take on Woods in a while, so
You can't lose this today. We play real or fake on Thursday.
thank God.
So
I mean, I can help somebody else lose.
it's like an off day to rest your bullpen.
I need it. I need a mental reset.
We're going to get into the call. We've got reaction from Jesse and Tony and Bob Melvin. We'll hear the entire call again. Go through it all. We're not going to do it in the next 2 minutes.
We really went long in the first.
We did.
Ben and I screaming at each other.
I do think, and we can get into this more as well. I know there's people who think Bob Melvin should lose his job. People who think AJ Preller should lose their job.
there.
His job.
Whoa.
I don't necessarily agree with a mid-season switch like that. You do have to, at some point when things are going poorly, though, shake something up. There has to be
Yes.
something done
Like
to stir the pot just a little bit.
like is that? We agree that like I hate to do this because again we sat here and talked a couple days ago about the humans and Adam Jones. Like, man, these guys are human. I'm not going to tell somebody they can lose their job. I don't want to come on the airwaves and be like, fire this guy. What? But like,
I thought you made a really good point yesterday. I was disappointed there wasn't even a lineup change at the top yesterday.
100%.
And
man.
and you know, Manny actually had a nice game at the plate. Was he 2 for 2 with 2 walks?
Yeah.
You know, it didn't necessarily hurt the Padres in that case. Xander Bogaerts is in my crosshairs today.
yeah, it's tough.
And I've got to imagine that the wrist is bothering him again. There's no power, there's nothing there at the plate, and it feels like, you know, just shut him down at least until he can get another cortisone shot. Whenever the doctors say it's okay, but to keep running him out there,
Well,
I
in
mean,
the 4-hole.
yeah,
In the 4-hole. And I know baseball's changed, and I know the lineup doesn't really matter anymore. I don't buy into that at all. We're getting guys on, man. We all know that. We're getting guys on.
and you know, when it's Manny, I'll acknowledge Manny at 60% still can do something for you. We've seen it many times. We saw it last year. He can help a ball club. Xander hasn't proven to me that Xander, at whatever he is right now, is helping this team. You know, is he the worst player out there? Probably not.
No.
But to me, it's just so frustrating, especially in the cleanup spot every day where you get a guy up there and you feel like there's no chance at an extra base hit, even.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to, you'd have to go through somebody's legs.
I thought he barreled one yesterday. It's like, okay,
Oh,
that's about 80. Now, yesterday, the ball was going nowhere.
Yeah, for sure.
At Oracle Park. The farthest ball, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit the longest ball yesterday's game with 341 feet.
Right.
That
That win again was nasty.
There was no chance
How about
to
a double?
do anything.
How about a double?
Each team had one. There was no extra base power in that game yesterday, and it played right into the Giants' hands.
Yep.
You know, obviously, both teams had the same number of hits. Padres had more base runners than the Giants. They went 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They clustered all their hits together in the 5th inning. Padres, of course, didn't. They scattered all their hits throughout the game and went 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. It's not a matter of getting more hits. It's a matter of putting them in the same spot, getting them all in one inning every once in a while, and stop. Hey, we get 1 runner on, 2 runners on every inning, and then start all over after we don't score. That is the Padres' biggest issue. It continues to be. It is unfortunately, it is one of the hardest issues to fix because there's no key way to pinpoint what's going on.
No, the only thing to do is just keep trying. And nobody wants to hear, hey, man, half of the battle is done. The getting on base part is done. That's kind of the hard part sometimes. Is getting on in a big league game is not the easiest thing to do all the time. These guys are really good. No problem. We have no problem getting guys on. None. I wonder what the percentage is on guys are on base. We get a ton of runners on. Guys work walks. You know, they
can't hit as low as the Padres do with runners in scoring position without getting a bunch of guys on and getting a lot of chances as they are. Yeah, I mean, like 75% of the battle is done for the Padres.
It really is.
And the 25% is so historically inept and bad.
Yeah, it's on pace. It's going to be the worst
In
offense in
history of baseball with runners in scoring position. Well, we've talked about that a lot. Let's get into the call last night. I think Major League Baseball has a serious issue. It's the second straight day that one of these calls has sparked national outrage. I thought the call against the Rangers 2 nights ago was hideously bad. And the one last night so far exceeded it.
It really did.
In terms of how unbaseball-like and how misinterpreted their own rule is. I mean, the way they write the rule was so completely misapplied and misinterpreted. It can't be overstated what a horrible mistake is. I tweeted last night, you're not allowed to protest games anymore, but if you were, that's the perfect time where you submit in writing. Here are your rules. You did not follow them.
Yeah.
We need to replay that game from that point, with a different call, like the George Brett Pine Tar game.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the kind of mistake that was last night. That wasn't the umpire blew the call. It happens. It's human. That is an egregious dereliction of your responsibility as a league to make that kind of call. You can't do that. We'll get into it next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Drag their ass.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Jamul Casino. Looking for a genuinely awesome job? Jamul Casino is looking for you. If you're a fun, positive person over 18, check out their job fair today. That's right, Thursday, June 22nd, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. They offer competitive pay, generous benefits, and plenty of team member perks. Learn more at jamulcareers.com. All right, we're coming at yesterday's egregious blown call at many different angles. We'll start with our Padres wrap-up of last night's game right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
We saw this crash in the North County, southbound side of the 15 before Center City Parkway. It's a hit-and-run injury accident blocking the right lane, so watch out for some very slow speeds approaching that. Crash clearing on northbound side of the 5 near Mile Cars Way. That's in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy live from the Crapper again.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Oh, God, here we go.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Jamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Jamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Jamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Darvish delivers, and this pitch hit in the air. That's a left field straight away. Soto backpedaling. Now he will run underneath of it, make the catch. Matos tags at third. He'll score without a throw. And a sac fly for Brandon Crawford gives the Giants a 1-0 lead. First pitch on the way to the left-handed batter. Hit hard on the ground through the right side and a base hit. Sable's rounding third. He's going to try and score on Tatis. Here's the throw to the plate. Up the line. He is out at home. Fernando gets another one. Gabe Kapler looks like he may have a challenge here.
San Francisco is challenging blocking at the plate. After review, we're going to call a violation on the blocking. The run is score. Runners will end at second and third.
Bob Melvin's going to get ejected here, I think. He is on the top step of the dugout screaming and yelling. They're saying, hey, Bob, you can't argue. And they're giving him a little bit of leeway because I know they know it's and he's been ejected, and now he's going to come out and really get his money's worth. Here's the pitch. And a hard hit liner up the middle into center field. Base hit. The yard comes in to score. Peterson will stop at second base. 3-0 San Francisco in the fifth. 0-2 from Darvish. And Davis loops one into shallow right center. That's going to drop for a base hit. He's going to get another run home. Fernando's throw coming into third base, not in time. RBI single J.D. Davis, 4-0 San Francisco. And still runners on the corners, 2 outs. The 3-2 pitch. And Grisham lines it into right center. That's a base hit. Kim rounding third. He's going to come in and score. Padres finally break through in the run column here in the 7th inning. 4-1 Giants as Trent Grisham reaches for the third time in 3 trips. An RBI single for the number 9 hitter. First pitch to Cronenworth, the left-hand hitter, muscled in the air to center field straight away. Matos camping underneath of it. He makes the catch. Soto tagging. The throw will go to third. Gets away momentarily from Crawford, but backed up by the left fielder Slater. Soto scores the sac fly for Cronenworth, and now a 2-run game in the 8th inning. Here's the 1-1. Tatis swings, lines it up the middle, caught at second base by Schmidt, and the ball game is over. Giants have won 10 in a row for the first time since May of 2004 as they beat the Padres tonight 4-2 on a frustrating for very different reasons night here in San Francisco.
You never know where the game's going to go, but at that point in time, it's 1-0. Use out of the inning, and there aren't 3 more runs on the board.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants had 4 instead of 1. Padres end up scoring 2. You can make a very clear-cut argument that the umpires in Major League Baseball cost the Padres the game last night. Now, the counterpoint that was brought up by my colleague Wale last night was that the Giants still would have had the bottom of the 9th to walk the game off, even if they had been down 2-1. And I can't refute that the way the previous 2 games had gone. So I'll acknowledge that part of it, that the bottom of the 9th was still sitting out there for a potential bullpen collapse. Again, had the umpires not done such a pitiful job of last night's implementing of what is.
Was it the umpire though?
No, it's the replay umpire.
Yeah, that's the.
We gotta be clear on that.
That's
the umpire called him out.
That's the distinction that needs to be made. And there is no. I am president of the umpire, not hater, but the umpire disliker fan club, anti-fan club, and he made the right call. He was out, and he was out by a lot. And I think pervasive attitude tells you everyone's saying, where's the feel? Where's the feel for this game of baseball? We've lost a lot of feel. We've implemented a lot of new rules, some of them good, some of them bad. The pitch clock messes with the feel of the game, as we're used to. It's also pretty good. Gets the games over quickly and gets these guys back to the hotel. That said, man, there is some feel missing from this game, and I think it certainly showed itself last night, and it showed itself the night before in Texas.
I will say that it's my understanding that the crew chief or home plate umpire, they are on at least the headset with New York to say, here's what I saw, to make sure they have all the information.
Well,
and I will say in that case, the home plate umpire needs to go, yeah, I saw the throw, move him up the line. I saw a play that wasn't even close, and that by the rules as you have laid them out, that's a very clear-cut out call. I see no reason to overturn it from my angle from what I saw. That I hope that was communicated to Major League Baseball. And if it was,
it couldn't have been.
And they decided to overturn it anyway.
It couldn't have been.
At that point, you have to question the integrity. And I don't do this lightly. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but you have to prove it to me. I mean, you've already had other owners come out and say, we disapprove of Peter Seidler. We don't want the Padres essentially to be successful with what they're doing. And when you make a call like that, the logical next step is going, all right, Major League Baseball has it out for the Padres because you have taken what is a clear rule. You have violated your own rules of the game to screw a team that you have already had your collective ownership who runs this sport chide and disapprove and say, we don't like you spending all this money. We're going to punish you, Peter Seidler. I mean, come out and say it, Rob Manfred, that you're not intentionally screwing the San Diego Padres here, because from my viewpoint, that's what it looked like last night. And I know that that's a huge leap, and I'm accusing them of something, but that's what my eyes tell me. Is that not what everyone saw last night?
Manfred himself spoke on Peter Seidler. Manfred himself said, this is not sustainable.
Exactly.
He said it.
Exactly. Is that not what everyone saw last night? That Major League Baseball took their own rule, completely threw it out the window and said, you know what? Let's screw the Padres. You know what? We don't like what they're doing. This is funny. Let's change the rule. I mean, I can't imagine that's what's going on, but the optics is exactly what that looks like last night.
Well, here's the only argument I can make to that, Benny, is you said, I know the umpire's on the headset. So Quinn Wolcott, the guy that made the call, he explained to a pool reporter after the game, this is from AC's newsletter this morning, he said, quote, I don't worry about starting position for the catcher. I don't worry about where he's set up. It's hard enough to officiate that play. I need to read the throw to get in position to see a tag. So I don't watch starting position. It's not something I can see out there.
He's set up fine.
So I just try to officiate out safe at the plate. The blocking thing, kind of similar to some other plays we have. We just let that go to New York for them to sort out.
But he's set up fine. Let's listen to the play again. Let's listen to the whole play. Listen to Jesse's reaction to what it was, because he explains it perfectly last night. Perfectly.
Pitch on the way to the left-handed batter. Hit hard on the ground through the right side and a base hit. Sable's rounding third. He's going to try and score on Tatis. Here's the throw to the plate. Up the line. He is out at home. Fernando gets another one. Sable trying to score from second base on a hard hit ball to right, and he wasn't even close. Fernando Tatis Jr., another outfield assist. Giants had the bases loaded, nobody out. They get one. Head to the sixth inning. 1-0 San Francisco. And now out of the dugout comes Gabe Kapler. Looks like he may have a challenge here.
San Francisco is challenging blocking at the plate. After review, we're going to call a violation on the blocking.
Wow.
The run is score. Runners will end at second and third.
Wow. Bob Melvin's going to get ejected here, I think. He is on the top step of the dugout screaming and yelling. They're saying, hey, Bob, you can't argue. And they're giving him a little bit of leeway because I know they know it's and he's been ejected, and now he's going to come out and really get his money's worth.
So the rule, as it's written, it's been gone through many times. What's the email that we have, Paul, as well?
There was an email sent, I guess, clarifying
the rule.
What
several years ago, after it was implemented, the rule was always if the throw takes you up the line and you have to go up there and catch it, that's legal.
No, I think there was an email sent. I think like last night.
There was an actual email last night
about the play
I saw an older one.
Yeah, there was the rule was going around like crazy, but I think something was sent out by Major League Baseball in the game explaining their process.
Yeah.
And here is Jesse and Tony reading that and talking about it.
After reading the supervisor explanation, as they call it, pitch outside 1-1. I mean, it's false. Here's what was said. The catcher's initial positioning was illegal. First of all, that's not true. We watched it 1,000 times. He was out in front of the home plate and in no way blocking the runner's path to the plate. So you start there. That's false. 1-1 pitch is a breaking ball, strike 1 and 2. Beyond that, it continues. His subsequent actions while not in possession of the ball hindered and impeded the runner's path to home plate. That is also untrue. It's false. It didn't happen. That's not the reality of it after watching it as many times as we did. Hard hit ball up the middle on the ground into center for a base hit. Juan Soto, a leadoff single here in the 6th inning. As the Padres, a little fire underneath them, going to try and get back in this game. The throw brought him towards the third base line, which is absolutely okay. Beyond that, the runner was out by so much that he was never impeded in terms of getting to the plate because he was never close to getting to the plate. That, too, is part of the rule when it comes to the catcher's ability to block the plate or not.
I honestly have to wonder if he was actually watching the game and seeing the clips.
First pitch to Manny, way high, ball 1.
Because the same replay we saw showed Sanchez out in front of the plate. But more importantly, the throw, he doesn't move until the throw comes out of the hand and is clearly going up the line.
1-0 to Machado inside, 2-0 from Rogers. So really all three things written in the explanation are wrong. Objectively. Like you said, he saw something other than what actually occurred.
I mean, Jesse lays it out perfectly there. And I watched the replay not as often as Jesse did, but I saw Gary Sanchez out in front to the first base side of the plate. Fernando Tatis uncorks the throw. He immediately moves up the line because that's where the throw is heading. It feels
what's
like
he supposed to do? Just let it go into the dugout?
It feels like the umpires are the replay umpires are saying, well, he doesn't have the ball yet, and I don't see the ball in the screen. And then he's in the baseline, and then it comes to him in the baseline. You don't move when the ball is 5 feet away from you. As soon as he throws the ball, you see, okay, it's going to be a little bit up, and you move in position to catch it, which you are allowed to do in the rule.
There's the chalk line, right, up the third baseline. And I asked this in the chat last night after they showed Gary's foot, his left foot, it would be, a toe or two over the line, right? Over the line into foul territory, maybe to start, maybe. And I said, well, what is it? Is he supposed to put his feet on the line like a wide receiver and then lean and like not move, just fall to the ball and hope he gets the tag, drag his toe to keep it in bounds? It's a feel that in my opinion is a feel call. And that ball beat him by so GD much that it wasn't even close. And I, as a manager, Gabe Kapler did the right thing. But Gabe Kapler played this game for many, many years. If I'm the catcher, I'm like, God dang, he got me with a good throw. It's of course he's going to challenge. Of course, because why? Because he knows he could win it. That's how poor. That's how in no other time in baseball history, no other time in baseball, if challenges were allowed 30 years ago, whatever, it didn't matter. You could truck the catcher. You don't even challenge that call because he's so egregiously out, and it was such a good play that you tip your cap and you go back and grab your glove.
I wonder if the play in Chicago hadn't happened the day before, if Gabe Kapler would have even bothered.
Good call. Good call.
Why waste a challenge here? That
it?
was not even close. But because the play happened the day before, and hey, maybe we got the same replay guy out there in New York. Might as well give it a shot. I do think that for credibility, Major League Baseball needs to have one of those replay officials sit down and explain frame by frame,
Frame by frame.
exactly why they called it the way they did.
It's garbage.
And if they
It was
can't
garbage.
do that, then they owe the Padres a replay. They owe the Padres a protest replay and do that, game over. I really believe they won't, because it's no longer part of the rules. You can't protest. They've said you can't do it anymore. But Major League Baseball's replay officials have lost all credibility in my mind after that play. We'll have Bob Melvin audio. I heard some of that last night. Paul says we got Manny Machado audio, which I have not heard at all, and that he is hot too. So we'll play that when we come back. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Also a game of real or fake coming up ahead with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Next hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Smart and Final. Replay officials were not smart. Unfortunately, their call is final. Smart and Final's got your whole 4th of July cookout, from snacks to burgers to drinks and more at prices that are worth celebrating. Get it all in one trip.
It's the hardest.
That's it.
Oh, it's good. The hard part about radio is you get comments like this. Tom, the salesman, puts in the chat. Talking about one bad call instead of the team's dreadful performance. Man is trying to protect the business relationship. We did it the first. If you went back, the thing is, you never, nobody listens for 4 hours, so you miss it, and you're like, bro, we talked about that, and I'll talk about it.
We're on 20 hours a week, and I'd say a good 12 of them are devoted to the team's bad performance.
Just
lately.
Horrendous, absolutely horrendous, and yeah, we'll hear Manny's comments certainly, and Manny had a decent night last night, but.
A boneheaded base running mistake.
Yep, for sure.
Again, trying to make stuff happen.
Yes, because of the terrible offensive.
And it was asked of Bob Melvin, if you're not struggling, if you guys are on a 5-game winning streak, does man even try that? Why? Things are going well. Just let someone come and drive me in. But when you're pressing and you feel like you need to make something happen, you make mistakes, and it compounds itself. And we saw that with Manny last night.
Yeah, no doubt. But hey, man, Tom, the salesman. I'm going to sell you something right now, bud. The team is dreadful. I said in the open, I said they stink. They stink. They're a stinky, bad team. They can't put together a winning streak of more than 3 games. That's not a good baseball team. It's not. In no universe is a 3-game winning streak for a baseball team adequate.
Can I agree with you?
And also think it's a bad call? Yes.
But also think it's a bad call, and also disagree with the people who say they don't care. Yeah, they stink and they don't care. The guys just don't care that they're losing. The coaches don't care. I disagree with that 100%.
I do too, and I always have.
They do stink right now.
They stink.
Yeah, I mean
they have all season.
They were playing better for a while.
Well, I mean, what's a while? 3 games,
2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, they were playing better baseball, but they continue to. Even throughout the time they were playing better, they still had games like these last 3, the one against the Rockies.
Yeah, of course.
They let get away. They don't get hits with runners in scoring position. Those problems are big enough that they can and are derailing the season.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a sign of a bad team.
It's the definition of they're not even an average team. Average, the definition of average is in the middle. They're not in the middle. They're below average. They've been, along with the Mets, probably the laughing stock of Major League Baseball.
I also don't agree when people say the season is over. There's
absolutely.
No chance to turn it around. No, there still is. If they keep playing like this, yeah, season's absolutely over. If this is all they are, the season is definitely over. You can't survive games like this over and over again and expect to do anything. I mean, I continue to hold out hope that this won't end up being the team that hits the worst with runners in scoring position in the absolute history of Major League Baseball.
So hard to
maybe
imagine.
they will.
Maybe
And if they are, then they won't make the playoffs, and it'll be an incredibly disappointing season. It's hard to be the worst. Think about baseball and how many years there's been. We're talking 150 century and a half of dozens and dozens of teams. So this is thousands and thousands and thousands of teams. It's tough to be the worst at something in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I agree. And let's talk about. I had a guy last night. He was very nice. He just said, "Hey, man, keep the faith, Woodsy." And I wanted to talk about faith in your team. I'm fully planning on sitting today at 12:45 and watching that game, and I'm fully excited for it.
And I'm going to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to the game tomorrow too. I'm the faith that I love the team will not waver, but the faith in the way that the team is playing is really kind of circling the drain right now. I wish to God I could fully. It's not a lack of buy-in because I don't.
It's a lack of confidence.
Yeah, I don't think
a lack of confidence.
I don't think you can be.
You'd be crazy if you went into the game. I think this is the day they turn it around.
We do that every day.
You hope it is, but to actually say, I think this is the day they definitely turn it around. That requires a leap of faith that I don't have right now.
The
I hope it is.
Faith is the good. That's the good. I think you'd be. It's a fool's errand to just believe blindly, right? And just say, Yeah, I mean, they're just too good. They're just too good because they just haven't shown it for any length of time, consistency, whatever. We talked earlier, 8 of 13. Well, that's now 8 of 16. That's just the definition of average. So I think they're an average baseball team as it stands. They're certainly not on paper. And as everyone loves to remind we, the media and the fans, well, look at our baseball cards. Well, they don't look really much like your baseball cards have traditionally. And I don't know what the problem is. Boy, we certainly hear a lot of stuff. You certainly hear a lot of stuff. And here's what I will say without, because I'm not in that room, so I don't know. If there's beef in that locker room, figure it out. You know why? The fans deserve it. Peter Seidler deserves it. The fans, San Diego, the city of San Diego deserve better. If you guys have personal beef with each other, and boy, we've heard plenty of rumors that they do, you're grown-ups, you're pros, figure it out and do your job. Do your job every day and earn your paychecks, Chief.
I want to hear this Manny audio.
Yeah.
I teased it, and we're going to play some real or fake. So if you want to call right now while we play the Manny audio from postgame that I haven't even heard yet to play real or fake and qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, call now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Just stay on hold if you get there. We don't really answer the phones. Paulie will just pick someone at the end. But all right, so this was Manny after the game last night. I know that Sammy Levitt just texted just to make sure that Paul had edited it because it included a word that you can't play on the radio. Paulie caught it, though. Good job, Paulie. So he was not happy, but I haven't heard this yet, so fire away.
No, not at all. I mean, when you get thrown out by 20 feet, I don't know how you overturn that. So I just think it's a ridiculous rule. You're gonna call something like that, and then it's not a for sure thing. They're saying that his foot was on. He's blocking it. His foot was inside the box. He has to be in line, but at the end of the day, he gets thrown out by 20 feet, 10 feet, whatever it is. Like, he had no lane even sliding. There was no play there, so I don't know how the play gets overturned.
It was one of those innings where it seemed like, oh, wow, you guys got out with great play, only one run. Maybe that could have changed things. Like, how did it change things to have to go back out?
You just were waiting there. I mean, first off, you overturn, right? You overturn the clock. Darvish, you're not in a East Coast where it's 80 degrees and it's sunny out there, I mean, it's windy, it's cold. It takes them 15 minutes to make a call, and then you overturn it. You ice our pitcher down, and to go out there and then try to, go get 2 more or get an out left. I mean, it's just, I just don't. It was just a thing.
Do you think anyone in this clubhouse has a great understanding of that rule and how it should be applied?
I don't think anybody in that room does. I don't even think the umpires know.
Did you see the play last night in Chicago?
I saw some of it. I mean, it's just, I saw ours that happened a couple of days ago. This was not even close compared to that one. I think that was a little bit more of a close call. It was a bang play at home. Maybe that could have got overturned. We would have not even said anything if that one got overturned. And then this one today, I just don't think anybody knows the rule. I think it's just a dumb rule.
That's a good point. We talked about the Austin Nola play over the weekend against the Rays, and I didn't think he was blocking, but if they had overturned it and said he was, I could at least see the argument there. He was kind of half in front of home plate as the ball came in. But if that's not blocking home plate, how in earth is what Gary Sanchez did called blocking home plate? I mean,
don't know.
If it's a bad rule and you're implementing it poorly, at least do it consistently. But they don't even have that. They don't even have that argument where we say, well, that's how we've been doing it all season long. No, we can point to 3 days ago when you completely implemented it a different way with our catcher at the plate. Why would we do anything different when you've already showed us that that's a legal play? And now this isn't? It makes no sense. And Major League Baseball loses all credibility when they do that.
They do. And the fact that that a manager would even have the idea to challenge one of his runners getting thrown out by 15 feet. By the way, that runner still hasn't touched the plate. Still never did after the play. Hasn't today. Didn't go back and touch it. He knew he was out. Just like Wander Franco walking off the field the other day on the check swing. He's walking to the dugout. No, he didn't go. Why is he walking to the dugout?
He knew it. Pitcher knew it.
Jim Wolf and his shaved arms and his puka shell necklace and his giant python biceps. Like, I don't know.
His hat
What
was
are you
on
watching?
like this.
What are you watching? What are you guys doing? I understand. If here's the thing. And they'll hear auto umps and robot umps and everything else, and maybe they're bitter and maybe they're pissy. They have the best union on the planet. It's the only union in the world. Like, imagine a.
They make solid 6 figures for working 7 to 8 months of the year with plenty of vacation during those 7 to 8 months.
Let's say you're
luxury travel everywhere they go.
Let's say you're a carpenter, and there's probably a carpenter listening, and you're in a union. And everything you build falls to the earth. You build a house, it lasts 6 weeks. Hey, what do you want me to do? Your union's like, nah, you're fine. We got your back. It's egregious, and it's egregious every single night. So we can put men on the moon. We can do all sorts of things. We can eradicate disease. We cannot find a system in baseball that works. We just can't. And I don't know if it's the umps that don't want it. I've said this before. It's maybe my only salient point I've made on the show in the last 5 years. If I'm an umpire and you took it out of my hands, hey, Woodsy, you got the dish tonight. Great. And somebody's feeding me the answers. The easiest job in the world. You can't say anything to me, Bob. It's the computer. You take the hardest part of my job out of my hands, I am fine. I am fine. I am absolutely.
They're not going to get docked pay.
No, you can't even bitch at me. You can't bitch at me. You took it out of my hands, guys. Ben. You're mad. That ball hit the corner, and the computer called it a strike. It's a strike, bud. You can't get mad. Are they so bad because they're afraid of being replaced? Because the union's not going to replace them. They know that. They are it's the strongest union in the country, the umpires union. They are consistently bad at their jobs and getting worse. And I know that one last night wasn't on the ump. He made the right call. He called him out. But when the umpire says after the game, oh, yeah, I don't even watch where he sets up. I don't even watch it. I watch for safe or out. I let New York handle that. Okay, that's kind of a problem in and of itself. You know, if we're doing that, then why have umpires at all? Just let New York call the game. Safe, out. Just send a flash, a signal, a sound. Beep. Oh, yeah, crap. Beat me by a hair at first base. What? Yeah, got him. You know, that's it. Yeah, he's safe. Okay. Why have umpires at all? If you're just going to rely on replay and New York and all that, the fact that Gabe Kapler even had the stones to challenge that shows you how bad the replay and the umpires and everything else all is a collective.
I bet he was even a little embarrassed about it.
I mean,
he did his job the way he should have. I think Buck Showalter was a little embarrassed about having Joe's ears checked, and I think Gabe Kapler was a little embarrassed about winning that challenge.
It is
last night.
Real.
What do you say we play a little game of real or fake?
Yeah, let's do
it.
it.
I think Woods.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. If you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
Look at everybody calling in to try to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. 2 nights at Resorts World Las Vegas. 2 tickets to headliner Luke Bryan, 5-time Entertainer of the Year. August 30th to September 9th. Tickets and VIP packages on sale now at access.com. AXS.com and RWLasVegas.com. Let's go to Matt. Matt, congratulations. You are our contestant today on Real or Fake. How you doing, man?
Good, bud. How are you guys?
Good. All right. Woodsy can help you out here. You need to get 4 out of 7 right, and we'll qualify you for Las Vegas on a Throwback Thursday game of Real or Fake. The NBA draft. I knew you, Woods, you knew I'd get to it at some point.
My eyes just glazed over.
Takes place tonight in New York
Sorry,
City.
Matt, you're not going to get any help from Woods.
Which is also the home to superheroes like Spider-Man and Captain America. So we're combining them for today's game of Real or Fake. I'll give you a name. You tell me if they are a real number 1 overall NBA draft pick since 1970, or if it's a fake. It's an alter ego name for a comic book superhero. So NBA number 1 pick. Or comic book superhero.
Honestly, 2 of my favorite things.
I know.
NBA players.
All right, Matt, are you ready to play?
I'm ready to play. You're telling me Woods is going to be no help on this one.
Well,
Bro, I might as well go get a cup of coffee.
Feels like these names should all be fairly famous. We'll see how you do. Matt, round 1. Kent Benson. Real NBA draft pick or fake superhero alter ego? Kent Benson.
real NBA player.
He is first round pick of the Milwaukee Bucks, 1977, number one overall.
Obviously.
Congratulations.
Clearly.
That's one. All right, let's go. Round two here. Matt Murdock, real NBA player or fake superhero alter ego?
What do you think, Wood?
I think he's a real NBA player.
I think so too.
He is Daredevil. The blind lawyer with supernatural abilities.
No. He was power forward for the Milwaukee
That's
Bucks.
all right. Here we go. All right, round
I hate
three.
myself. I'm sorry.
Man, I told you. Don't.
Round three. Cade Cunningham, real or fake? NBA draft pick or fake comic book superhero?
Real NBA player.
Yeah, he was the first number one overall pick of the Detroit Pistons 2 years ago.
He was?
Yes, he was. Hasn't done much in the league. All right, that's 2 correct out of 3. Let's go to round number 4.
Oh, I thought you. He wasn't. He was the number one.
Number
overall
one
pick?
overall pick. Yeah,
No, he was.
Yes, he
I
was.
thought you said their first round.
No,
pick.
these are all number one overall picks. Like the
Cade
first guy.
Cunningham is a real number one
He's
pick.
the real number one overall pick in the draft 2 years ago. I knew no one. I thought that one was no one was going to get that.
Gun to my head, I'd be dead. Is he
is
really
that
fake?
guy?
I mean, if you would have told me, oh, he got drafted in the second round,
Or 40 years
Sure.
ago. No, yeah, 2 years ago. Cade
Number
Cunningham,
one
Number
overall
one
pick.
overall. Is
Oh.
he like Victor Wembanyama
God.
or LeBron from 2 years ago?
Oh my God!
All right, Matt. Here we go. Round 4. LaRue Martin, real or fake? NBA draft pick, comic superhero.
NBA draft pick.
He is number one pick of the Portland Trailblazers in 1972. LaRue Martin.
Great name.
All right. All you need is one more correct, and
He's on
you
fire.
are
Don't
going
ask
to
me.
win. Billy Batson. Billy Batson.
It's a fake.
That is. That's Shazam, and that is a win. And Matt, congratulations.
Give me the rest.
All right, we'll give Woods the rest. Matt, hang on the line. Paulie will get all your information during the break. Let's try Hal Jordan.
Sounds so much like an NBA player. I'm going to say Marvel or comic book.
Yeah, he's the Green Lantern. Very good. Anthony Bennett.
That's a draft pick.
Yeah, it's Cleveland Cavaliers 2013. I think that's all of them. I get them
Okay.
all. Yeah,
Yeah,
there we go. Very good. All right, we got a win. We got Woodsy got a couple right as well.
Feels good.
Feel good. We need a little feel good moment on
we
this
did.
morning.
We did.
Don't Do This is coming up next. Man,
we just
talk
did.
more about the umpires if you
I know.
want.
I can't.
Replay officials.
Can't do it.
I've got a college basketball coach who should know better.
Is it Bob Huggins?
It's not.
No.
It's a different college basketball. Not nearly as egregious as Bob Huggins.
All right.
But we can go to that as well. Ben and Woods will be back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
N71.
Don't do this.
I got a little surprise for you, you know what I'm saying?
Don't do this.
Listen, if I've said something bad, I mean, tell me I'm a bad boy. Just tell me I'm a bad boy.
Why? Just why?
I get the argument. You don't have to explain it to me. I'm not a moron.
Let me tell you why I am a dumbass.
It's time for Don't Do This.
Don't do this.
On 97.3 The Fan.
Forgot to remind everybody that Real or Fake is brought to you by Home Turf. Save time and water with pet-friendly, always green grass, and get a free consultation by calling the team at Home Turf at 888-4SD-TURF or go to sdhometurf.com. That's on me.
Is
That's
the
second
turf
straight
real
week.
grass
Or is it
fake?
fake?
I don't
It's a
know.
perfect sponsor, as I always say, for that segment. Let's get right to it. We got just a couple minutes here to get to Don't Do This, and I will start with a college basketball coach should know better. Not Bob Huggins this time. This time it's Memphis men's basketball coach Penny Hardaway. Remember Penny Hardaway?
Of course.
He should know, how. I mean, he was recruited heavily. The guy has lived college basketball and basketball his entire life. He was suspended 3 games by the NCAA for recruiting violations. A panel announced Wednesday. Apparently, the Memphis Tigers went to the same recruit's underclassman's house twice, to visit him on 2 different occasions, and it's very clearly stated in the rules. You get 1 home visit for an underclassman, a junior.
Seems like
After that, they've got
a dumb thing for them to violate.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very,
That's
like you may think it's a dumb rule, but you can't do it.
Yeah, there are complicated college basketball recruiting rules, and I think every team sometimes, goes like, oh, we may have messed up on this one a little bit. But that one seems pretty clear-cut and obvious. You get your 1 visit,
One and done.
and after that, they got to come to campus to you if they want to check you out again. But they sent an assistant to the house, and then a few weeks later, Penny went and visited the same recruit in the same house. I mean, he had to know that his assistant had just been there a couple of years ago. That's an easy one, and he biffed it, and he'll be suspended 3 games to start the next college basketball season.
All right, I got Tyreek Hill has been
saw this story yet a couple of days ago, but we're getting some more details on the assault charges.
Yeah, some pending potential assault charges for Tyreek Hill, which is shocking, right? He slapped a man allegedly during an altercation on a boat, and I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe they were all on a boat and drinking, and he slapped a dude, and it got sideways. No, this is wild. 6:45 p.m., Miami Marina. Hill and some of his friends boarded a boat without the owner's permission. They just were walking. We've all walked down the pier before and be like, ooh, that's a nice boat you got there. But
you don't hop onto it. Yeah.
Hey, babe, get a picture of me.
That's like a person's house.
Yes!
You just don't walk into their house.
They boarded it without the owner's permission. So employees of the ship, so I'm assuming it's a pretty big one. If you have employees on your boat, you're probably doing okay. They tried to kick them off, and then a verbal argument broke out, and he slapped one of the employees, allegedly, on the back of the neck with an open hand, and then his crew grabbed him and tried to pull him off. Then he went back after the employee, restrained by several people within his group. Then they ran. They skedaddled, got out of the area, and so yeah, that was the extent of that. We'll see what happens. So they had inquired, I guess, Ben, about renting the boat earlier in the day, and did not go through with the purchase due to the high cost. Went down to the boat anyway and got on, and were summarily denied.
I will throw a do this to someone who is actually not on my good list right now, but I'm never going to complain when someone admits to a mistake. When you make a mistake, all you can ask is that person admits to the mistake, right? And acknowledges it. The worst thing you can then do, like Major League Baseball, like dig in and go, oh yeah, we got that call 100% right. Actually, Rob Manfred admitted to a mistake finally. He said,
taking the commissioner's job?
Well, no, he said that he probably never should have granted immunity to the Houston Astros players when they investigated the sign stealing scandal.
Interesting.
From the playoff run
That's very
a few years
interesting.
ago. He said, remember when they investigated to get to the bottom of it, he said, all right, if you'll come and talk to us, we won't hold it against you. We'll give you immunity. If you testify, you're immune from prosecution. So they did. They got the info, but then they couldn't punish the players that were guilty of implementing the scheme. They could only punish, the GM and the manager who, weren't necessarily the orchestrators of the plan. They didn't stop it, so they were guilty, but they weren't the bad guys in the crime. And Rob Manfred did acknowledge yesterday, I'm not sure that I would have approached it with giving players immunity, he told Time Magazine. Once we gave players immunity, it puts you in a box as to what exactly you were going to do in terms of punishment. Might have gone about the investigative process without that grant of immunity. See where it takes us, starting with, I'm not going to punish anybody. Maybe not my best decision ever.
I mean, I hate lauding Rob Manfred for anything. So.
Well, I'm not. I mean, he's admitted to another mistake in a long line of mistakes as the commissioner of baseball. But at least he admitted to it and didn't continue to say, oh, yeah, no, we handled that perfectly.
We clearly,
with the Houston Astros.
We clearly, as a show, had a difficult time finding
don't do this today. Yeah. I'm not really in a do this sort of mood today.
I'm in a do this sort of mood, but not a do.
All right. That was don't and do this for a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's open up the phone lines. You've heard my spiciness. 833-288-0973. Let's hear your takes on the subject of last night's game and the call. We still have Bob Melvin audio. I just saw some new quotes from Gary Sanchez, Fernando Tatis Jr. on last night's play as well, as the Padres drop now the first 3 games of their series against the San Francisco Giants, a series that we called at the beginning of the week one of the more pivotal ones of the season for the Padres, and one that they fairly easily could have won all 3 of those games.
No question.
I mean, think where the Padres would be right now. 2 games above 500.
Right where shoulda, but right it just hurts, man.
It hurts, yeah.
Or where they could be 2 games above 500.
Amazing.
Riding a 5-game winning streak.
Correct.
I mean, the season looks completely different, right? Completely different.
It's been a rough one, man. Been a rough series.
Like the 3 days in June. Scraby's next podcast will be called 3 days in June.
Off the cliff.
The unraveling of the 2023 San Diego Padres.
I'm not going to make any submarine jokes.
On San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Caltrans Stormwater Program. Visit cleanwatercaa.com. Let's change this to that by picking up after our pets, reducing pesticide use, and regularly servicing our vehicles. Learn how at cleanwaterca.com. That's cleanwaterca.com from Caltrans Stormwater. Getting a few calls on the line here. You can chime in yourself at 833-288-0973. Get some audio from Bob Melvin. Got some quotes from The Athletic, from Gary Sanchez and Fernando Tatis Jr. on last night's game and horribly botched call by Major League Baseball. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, let's start with a call, and then we can sprinkle in some of the audio over the next 15 minutes or so. 833-288-0973. You've heard our side, our takes on it. What are yours? Let's go to Brandon. Welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hello, Brandon.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, just driving to work. I get about an hour each morning to listen to you guys. Has been a little bit of a rough week. I think the most disappointing part was, I've got a 9-year-old son that loves the Padres. Growing up in San Diego, I grew up just loving them too, and so I've passed it down to him. And each time that he's gone to bed, we've actually had the lead or it's been tied. And each morning when he comes out, he looks at me with the most hopeful eyes, and I just get to shake my head and go, nope.
Yep.
And he's like, what? And I get to explain to him what was different about this game. How this game didn't work out.
Yes.
And it was the craziest thing with yesterday's, because I was actually putting the kids down when the Tatis play happened. And I walk out and I just see Melvin, and the TV's on mute, and I just see him. I could lip read his cursing and all this. I'm like, what happened? And then I saw the score, and then I saw the play, and I'm like, wait, how could they have overturned it? He didn't even touch home.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened? And I had to piece it all together. And then now I'm like, what? And, obviously that can't be the ultimate reason why we lose. But when you're losing, things like that start to build. They start to add up. We're all human beings. And it's just so disappointing that every single game has some kind of play or combination of plays where it's going that direction. And I'm just very fearful that, we're not going to be able to right the ship. We've been talking about it for 2.5 months now, and I'm really hoping that they can get some wins under their belt coming after the series. They got to win today. They can't have a 4-game sweep in our division. It's really hopeful. I'm going to Sunday's game with my son. We got the Musgrove poster coming. So, hopefully put some good vibes out there. Let's climb back to 500 and then start righting the ship, guys.
I like the attitude, man. And I go through the exact same thing. I put my kids down before. Bo if you were on the stream last night, you heard him actually cursing, which is not a rarity. But he every day when I pick him up from school, I'm like, "Do you see?" He's like, "Yeah, Mama showed me." And he's like, "Man, it's unbelievable." And I said, "Yeah, it is. It's truly amazing." And listen, I don't think we're doing this intentionally. I don't. I think subconsciously, anytime something happens that distracts us or even the fans for even a moment from the putrid performance offensively, we spent the first few innings of the game last night literally screaming at our computers as we were on the live stream with our YouTube members, swing the bat. What are we doing? Why are we staring at strike 3 down the middle all freaking for the first 5 innings of the game? Swing it. Good Lord, this guy's got a 10 ERA. What are we doing? Why can every pitcher right his ship against this team? That's obviously the underlying issue. And I don't think we're doing it consciously, saying, all right, let's distract ourselves and everybody else with the boogeyman replay guy in New York. Yeah, it changed the complexion of the game. Sure, absolutely. Great teams that can hit. It's a blip. It's a blip on the radar. And the way they came out last night, just staring at strike three, not even close to being in attack mode at all.
I'll admit, had the umpires got that call right and the Padres gone on to a 2-1 win, which wasn't guaranteed, but certainly possible, it doesn't solve the issues of the Padres. They still only scored 2 runs in that game. Yeah, it would be much better to win rather than lose. And Major League Baseball should be responsible when it comes to that sort of thing. But to, what Brandon said and what you were saying, as Fernando Tatis said after the game, a quote here from The Athletic, it flipped the entire energy of the game. It's another dagger to us. And I mean, I don't know. I got nothing else. Man, we heard Manny say it earlier. It takes him 15 minutes to make the call. Then you overturn it. You ice our pitcher down. You go out there, try to get another out. It was just a bleeped up inning is what Manny had to say. 832-880-973. So Brandon said he was doing some lip reading of Bob Melvin. I also did a little lip reading of Bob.
As did I.
As well. After the game, he did not throw out any
bullcorn.
He said bullcorn at first,
I thought so
and
too.
I go, is he moving into Andy Green territory with bullcorn? And then I saw him drop a bull ass.
Quinn, you can go call another call wrong.
With your bullcorn.
Let's get to some of Bob's post-game comments, though, how he kind of summed it up in hindsight after the game.
Does anyone have any idea what that rule is and when it should be applied?
There's got to be some feel involved for something like that. It's an awful call and had an impact on the game.
From your viewpoint, why shouldn't it have been called based on the fact the runner was out by so much? Or
I think all the way around. The base runner's way down the line towards their dugout. At some point in time, you have to go get him. The throw took him up the line as well. Based on where he started, it looked like they showed the replay from when the throw was already on the way. And as a catcher, you have to have some feel for that. You got to also understand the impact and where the runner was. And it just, to me, was just one of the worst calls I've seen this year.
We understand they don't have to award him that run. They overturned.
I think there's a lot of interpretation involved, and that's where the field becomes, you have to have some feel for that. It was an obvious play. It was an obvious out.
Yeah.
Was there any explanation
No.
relayed to you from New
No.
York?
My man still hasn't touched that plate, by the way. They were given it's maybe the first time I've seen this. Given a run for a guy that never touched the plate. They awarded a run he never, ever touched. He was out by so much.
Him and Matt Holliday.
That's
about it.
Well, at least he was close.
He was close.
This guy was not close. Matt Holliday, maybe a bottom pad of his fingertip grazed the plate. No one will ever know but Matt Holliday. But
He may not even know either.
He may not know either. Yeah, it's bang bang for sure. But this one was a joke. It was an absolute joke. But again, we talked to Grant Brisbee yesterday, and he said, "Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to talk about bullpen day, and I got a few of those DMs like, man, we can't even beat the Giants on 2 bullpen days." The guys from the bullpen were they had good stuff last night, but they hadn't to this point really. The what was his name? Jelly had a 10 ERA.
Yeah,
when he came into the game. All of a sudden, he looked like
he was getting the pitching ninja treatment for his curveball.
Absolutely.
And I will say he was throwing that either the cutter or the curveball on the outside corner. One would break way outside, and if you swung at it, you'd miss. The other cut right back over the middle, and if you took it thinking it was going to be a curveball that went outside, well, then you got caught looking right down the middle. And it happened over and over to the Padres last night.
9 Ks last night for the boys.
Let's go out to Bianca, 833-288-0973. You're next up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you, though, for asking,
Good.
Bianca.
Well, I'm good, but however, very disappointed.
Yes.
I feel like this series, again, like you guys said, it was a shift. Whatever, if we win or lose, we are losing this series. Yes, we need a win tonight. However, I don't feel like the first 2 games, I feel like Bob has lost his internal instinct regarding the pitching.
Yeah,
the last 2 games.
a couple bad decisions. We talked about those, the day after they happened. I mean, there was bad. I thought it was bad decision making.
Yesterday's game, but we do have a problem overall of leaving runners on bases. That is our problem.
Yes.
That is a problem.
That's it.
I don't know how to fix that, but that is the problem every single game we lose. Even the games that we win.
Yeah.
That is our problem.
We might hit a few
100% true. Let me go back to what you said about Bob Melvin. You're talking about having a feel for your own bullpen. We just heard Bob say the umpires, you can have a feel
right
for the game.
Yeah.
And Bianca's right. As a manager, you do have to have a feel for your bullpen. We did talk the last couple of days about how ultimately it's the responsibility of those guys to go out, throw strikes. Luis Garcia's got to get the ball over the plate. But as a manager, you also have to have the feel for who are the right guys and whether a guy's going to be able to handle a situation or not. And you can't put the bad guys in the situations that they're going to crumble under. You also, if you're a general manager, you have to give your manager enough options where, hey, I've got 4 guys who are available right now. I don't think any of them can handle this situation, but you got to put one of them in.
I need 3 outs with a 2-run lead, and I look down there, and the cupboard is bare, my friends. And it's just all snowballed and snowballing, and it doesn't feel like there's an end in sight. Now they could come out today. Who's pitching for the Giants today?
It is Wood. Alex Wood. The most startery of the pitchers that they've had in this series.
Yeah,
it's DeSclafani, but second bullpen day.
Started by the same guy.
Same guy. You rarely see that in a series. Two games started by the same pitcher in the same series. But we still haven't seen Sean Manaea out of the bullpen. He was warming up yesterday. Hey, can I say one positive thing about last night's game? Good to see Adrian Morejon back and pitching a clean inning at the end of the game in the bottom of the 8th after he was activated off the injured list before the game yesterday. He had some interesting comments about, remember last season when he started, everything went south on him late in the season, and then he had the playoff blow up against the Mets and the Dodgers. He had a couple of bad outings in September and October. And he talked about how his off-speed stuff just completely left him late in the season. Couldn't trust that knuckle change that he was throwing. Couldn't trust the sliders. Was basically just throwing the fastball. You can't get away with that in Major League Baseball. No. So he's been working, in the minor leagues, has basically shelved the knuckle change and gone with a straight change now, which he says he has confidence in. He's gotten more feel again for the breaking balls. And, excited to see Adrian Morejon come back. He's a guy that they can get 2 or 3 innings out of right now. Yeah. And ultimately, I think the plan, it's kind of a cross your fingers at this moment, but ultimately he's the guy who replaces Blake Snell in the rotation next year if Blake Snell leaves in free agency. He's a young left-hander, throws absolutely nasty stuff. He just has to be able to prove himself that he can do it consistently on the big league level, and he'll get that opportunity now in the Padres bullpen, hopefully for the rest of this season.
Yeah, and again, it's a matter of health. It's stay healthy, and that's been an issue for him in his career. But yeah, there's still potential there. Not a guy you're ready to give up on at all. It was nice to see him back. It was all Honeywell wasn't a clean inning, but he came out of it unscathed. So again, yeah, we were grasping at straws right now, honestly, and Bob Melvin needs some guys he can count on in that bullpen. And honestly, we were all excited because we had the big 3 back, and they let us down too in this series as well. So it's been a rough one. It's been a very, very rough one, as Brandon said when he called in.
Thought that those 2 games against the Rays might be a turning point because they a 1-run win and a 2-run win. Yep. The games in which the Padres have struggled in, and now they've gone back 3 straight losses by 1 or 2 runs. Drops their record to 4-18 in their last 22 games, decided by 1 or 2 runs. And remember, each loss or win in a close game, that flips you by 2 games in the standings. So the Padres are currently 4 games under 500. Had they just won 3 of those and gone 7-15, which is worse than a .333 winning percentage in those close games, they'd be 2 games above 500. They'd be 2 games back out of a playoff spot. The season is completely different in its perspective right now. If you just win 3 of those 18 close games that you have lost over the past about month and a half, just 3 of those 18 close games, your season looks completely different. You'd think I'm always crazy when I say the Padres aren't that far away, but you look at that stat, and how do you not say the Padres aren't that far away? You're 1 hit in 3 games away from essentially being in a not bad position, kind of where you want to be at this point.
Well, I don't think you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I do think that you're a little damaged because the way to refute that is that they don't get it. It never happens. Like, it never happens. It's not like it happens. It's sometimes. It never happens. They never get that big hit. They haven't won an extra inning game all year. They've scored one time in extra innings, once, and that's not a an anomaly. That's what it is. That's who they are, at least right now. They always say in baseball, all it takes is one. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. All it takes is one.
But they get those ones. They get those ones. They've had really good games over the last few weeks. And you think that
I don't mean
that's the one.
I don't mean
that's going to turn things around.
I don't mean a win. Yeah, you'll have.
You just mean
one extra inning
moment.
win. One. Yeah. I thought the Rugi home run in Washington was. That's it, man. We are on.
And that sparked 3 in a row.
Yeah,
3 wins. And he thought that was it. And then once again, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, Marco says
2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's 1 step forward, 1 step back.
Marco says the whole season has been what if. That's it. What if? Oh man, what if? What if? What if?
I'm good at playing what if.
You are. If they gave out PhDs for what if, you have a PhD in what if.
I do have a PhD in what if. This one though, this is the easiest class I've ever taken.
A master's in I like.
Yes, a master's in I like.
Hey, there's a different what if. Well, if only this guy and this guy and this guy had all stayed healthy and hadn't gone onto the injured list, then I think this team would have been, at least 500 or better. That's one what if. This one is like, if they had just not been the worst team in the history of baseball with runners in scoring position, they'd probably be comfortably above 500.
Why
we wouldn't be having these discussions?
My question to you and everybody is, why do we think it's going to change?
I mean, with the runners in scoring position thing, it's because statistically everyone tells me it's supposed to even out. That's the one that's just supposed to even out. You don't have to do anything to change it.
No.
You just let it even out because that's how stats work.
We'll be waiting patiently.
And here we are waiting
patiently.
Again. All right, we'll come back. We got 2 hours to go. More phone calls, 833-288-0973. Eno as well. Ben and Woods on the Fan.
All right. Halfway home on a Thursday here on Ben and Woods, and did apparently pull the demon out of Ben Higgins last night. I know that I can get under Ben's skin from time to time. This is a weird one for me because I didn't actually realize that I had until later when people were telling me. I'm Woodsy.
This is so good.
That's Paul Reindl and Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor to my left. And so we did if you're following along on YouTube, it's a fun thing we've been doing. People really enjoy it. And for our premium members, we do a chat. We watch a game and we can shoot the breeze. We'll answer your questions and things like that. So I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X guy, but man, when it comes to technology, I'm about as boomerific as it gets. We're about to have in the next week or so, Paulie, we will be having our annual I'm ready to cut the cord conversation.
Again.
Annual. Yeah, annual. I still haven't done it yet, but we're very close. I'm on the plank right now. I just have not jumped yet. Very close. Very, very close. I think I've figured it out. So last night, we were doing our live stream, talking to our friends in here. And I had my kids needed to be put to bed, and my wife had taken a Benadryl because she had a rash. Benadryl might as well have been like Tramadol. Like she was out. I mean, she was
like me on Alka-Seltzer.
Like you on Alka-Seltzer. She was out cold. If you had told me Hannah drank a bottle of tequila, the results would have looked the same when I went back to the bedroom. My kids are running around. I'm trying to do the live stream, and I finally said, guys, you got to give me a few minutes. I got to figure this out. So I took my AirPods out of my ears. I put them back in their case. They worked.
Right when when we started, you were like, sounds a little weird.
Sounds weird.
Like
I'm talking through the computer.
You didn't have a microphone. You're using the internal microphone on your laptop.
Yep. So I put my AirPods in, and we're cruising. Everything sounds good. So I took them out, put them back in the case, went to take care of the kids, came back. Pulled the AirPods out, put them back in my ears, and I'm looking at the stream, and you guys are talking, and I'm like, hello? Hello, can anybody hear me? And we've got Paulie pulled the audio of it, but the worst part was I didn't know this. Ben had started regaling our listeners here and our friends in the chat with some stories, and I completely didn't realize it. And Ben was very upset.
Ben and I can hear you.
Yes,
we can hear each other. Ben and I can talk to each other.
I'm trying to keep the conversation going with you gone, and I'm just,
Your microphone worked. Your audio did not. You could not hear anything.
I clicked on Bluetooth. It said AirPods connected. It was just one of those weird, janky things where after 10 minutes, I had to just shut it off and come back. Right, and start over.
I've condensed this down to 2 minutes. It probably took about 10. I turned my mic. I called you. I'm like, try doing this.
But listen, so one of the things that I noticed when we first started working together 5 years ago, Ben and I, we've called Ben the wrecking ball before. You will, and I've called you the fullback. You're like our little Tom Rathman. You throw a helmet on Ben and you feed him up the middle, and he puts his head down and he just plows through.
I like Lorenzo Neal. He was a good.
Okay,
dude.
Yeah, great dude, great fullback. Ben plowing through like Lorenzo Neal. The world is exploding around him, and Ben's like, and then in 1979, the Blazers.
I'm the guy who continued to toss to an Aztecs basketball story while getting run over by a car on television.
And it's
I
just
do not stop.
Actual story.
It is who he is. It's in his nature. He will not stop and say, I'm going to let this sit and marinate. He goes, give me the ball. No one's stopping. The legs keep churning, and they just churn, and he goes.
You guys basically fullback each other
We
because
do.
you have no idea what's happening. But we
don't know.
You just keep talking
because I don't know.
I don't know. So good.
I don't know if anybody can hear me. So here it is.
I actually had a
Audio.
colleague,
AirPods.
She runs the teleprompter on Mondays, and she said something. She's not a sports fan really at all.
Just smacking your computer the whole time.
She says, I watch your highlights of the Padres and just feels so much like the Chargers. And you know how they
Now I have it on. Now I have these things off, and it's still not working.
They're supposed to win. Can you mute him?
I'm telling you, it's not my fault. It's these damn kids.
Ollie, just
They're
mute
probably
him.
in here messing with something.
He has no idea he's interrupting your story.
But anyway, I thought she had a good point. This Padres team does feel like at least 5 or 6 of those Chargers teams that like baffled you how they could lose games. Like, what's going
Don't
on?
you mute my mic? The volume's up. Mute's off. Like, insane. I got nothing. I'm telling you. Bro, get your ass to bed.
So I tested it.
Yeah, that's
Test speakers.
the test button.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I can't get it in my computer or anything. Nothing.
I'm not doing a 2-hour
Bro,
monologue.
I'm serious. Like, I can't even get the speaker
I'll
right.
tell you
He's
that.
losing.
I worked too long of a day to do that. Oh man. Beef wants me to continue my story. What was the story about the chart? It was just the fact that she's not even a sports fan, and she kind of made a point that I thought was actually pretty valid. That these feel like losses the Chargers would have had. You got to invent creative ways to lose. You're not bad
Can
enough.
you hear us now?
Yeah.
Cuts him off.
Bad enough to-
I was
Over it.
fed up. Yeah, these feel like losses the Chargers would have had. You got to invent creative ways to lose. You're not bad
Can
enough.
you hear us now?
Yes.
Like, you're not bad enough to just lose and get.
He just keeps on
You have
going.
to come up with creative, weird
amazing.
ways to lose, and that's what this season feels like.
Ben was starting to tell that story, and Woods was just going ballistic.
Did I interrupt your Chargers stories?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're back now.
That one back.
Holy
It's
crap.
so good, man. And I had no idea. I had no idea it was going to. But this is the kind of things that you get in the chat, and we'll do that once a month. And we're 0-2, by the way. So
Yeah.
we've been doing that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Sorry that I didn't realize, but this is what you get. You know, this is what you get when you work with me, but that's what you get when you work with Ben. He is just gonna laser focus, plow through it. You're the meme of the little girl in the neighborhood, and all of the things are on fire and smoke, and you're like smiling.
The
Like,
dog at the computer
dog-
with the house on fire.
Yeah. The dog
This
is
is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
Everything's good.
This is fine.
I'm gonna continue to tell this story. That was amazing.
That's how I was brought up though in radio. It's like you don't acknowledge the mistake. You professionally continue to do your job
Plow
while
through
there's
it.
chaos around you. That to me, that was like the ultimate sign of being a pro broadcaster, that you were not distracted by anything out there. Now, you have kind of taught me over the last few years, but that's the good stuff, the
It's the best
mistakes,
it's the best.
the flubs, the interruptions.
Yeah.
That's where the gold is really mined, especially on a show like this.
Well, and you can't,
But my instincts are always just to keep going
Of
and keep
course.
talking.
you can't you can't take it too seriously. Life in general, you can't, but especially sports radio. And there's I've never seen an industry filled with more people that take themselves so seriously. And it's just not, it doesn't embarrass me at all if the show sucks. It just doesn't. And there's been moments where it just sucks flat out, and you embrace the suck, man. That's the only way to do it. But man, that was funny as hell when Paulie played it back for me this morning. I had no idea, none. I would have just sat and quietly tried to figure it out, but I don't really sit quietly very much. So that's what you get. And I could not figure it out, and finally had to shut it down and start over and reboot.
I am looking at the one replay of the call last night that actually includes Fernando Tatis Jr. It's the shot from behind on the third base sideline on the foul line that looks out toward right
The
field.
on deck circle.
And you
area.
see Sable is rounding third as Tatis is fielding the ball. You don't see Gary Sanchez at that moment, but you see Tatis then uncork a throw while Sable is a little more than halfway from home to third to home on his way there.
Did they clock his, by the way?
I didn't see it.
Tatis?
I'm
I
sure
didn't
they
either.
did. I didn't see the number, but
It was a
he
seed.
had 100 already this year and a 99.5 mile an hour outfield assist. Then the screen, it zooms back a little bit until you see Gary Sanchez. Now the ball at this point is already in the air by the time you see Gary Sanchez. When he comes into the frame, you know where he's standing? He's out in front of home plate. He is not even on the foul line yet. The ball is halfway there, and then he steps up into the foul line, into the base path to catch the ball, and he's still two steps away from Sable, and he moves even further into the lineman to make the tag. But when that throw was released, He was absolutely in a very legal position.
Oh yeah.
So when Major League Baseball says he was in an illegal spot to start the play, they're lying to you.
Yeah, they are.
Major League Baseball has decided that they're just going to lie to the fans, lie to the Padres to cover their own butts on an egregious mistake.
Sable
Because
says
it's right there. It's in video right there that Sanchez is not in an incorrect spot.
Sable-
He steps onto the line to go get the ball, which is perfectly legal in the rule. The way it is written, you can go and get the ball. What is he supposed to do? Wait until it's already past him to move up and catch the ball? No, the ball is in the air. You go get the ball where it's being thrown.
While Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred and I can't remember the guy that in charge of the replay's name. It's in there. Sable should be embarrassed as a big leaguer for his quotes after the game. This is embarrassing. You've got to really make sure you start in fair territory and give the whole runner's lane right there, because if Gary had started in fair territory there and the throw did take him deeper, it would have been fine. He's legally allowed to go and get the ball. And you watch the replay, I think he started a little bit in foul territory. So there wasn't really a clear line for me to go home. You know why
He didn't. I see him in fair territory, and then the ball is already halfway home.
Yeah.
When Gary Sanchez steps across
Correct.
the line.
And there wasn't a clear line for me to go home. Sable, there wasn't a clear line for you to go home because the ball beat you by 20 feet, carried him up the line, and then he was able to tag you with ease. And you weren't close. You didn't get close to the plate then. You still haven't touched the plate now. If I'm Sable, you know what I say after the game? Yeah, we probably got. I don't think I've ever been thrown out by that much and still been called safe. Wear that one, my friend. Don't say you didn't have a clear line and you didn't feel safe to go into home plate. Give me a small break. Give Gary Sanchez, your fellow catcher, give him the break. Because if the same thing happened to you, holy smokes, I'd be like, oh my God, why is Trent Grisham running there? He's out by 15 feet. We don't deserve that run.
I think it must have been like a former Yankees fan or someone who tweeted, first time in his life that Gary Sanchez has ever been accused of blocking home plate before.
Gary Sanchez experience. Oh yeah,
he was not known for necessarily putting his body on the line to block runners at home plate as a catcher.
The bat has cooled, and I don't blame him in the slightest for this. He did nothing wrong, and I think it's got to be really hard, guys, to go in. Imagine if the rules on us changed every day. We didn't know what we could and couldn't say on a daily basis, right? Hey, you can say the F word today, not on Wednesday though. You can't do that. It really is. And if you're Nola behind the dish today catching Snell, or
you can say the F word, it just depends on the inflection that you use.
Right, exactly. But if you're Gary, or you're Nola, or you're Sable, or you're the other kid that they just called up, the catcher for the Giants, are you confident today? If on a play at the plate, or is anybody confident in baseball on a play at the plate? It's basically just, why am I even doing this? Let's just go to the replay and roll the dice. It doesn't make any sense.
By the way, here's what Gary Sanchez said after the game through interpreter Pedro Gutierrez. Quote, everything happened so fast. I was in front of home plate, and then the ball took me there. I just moved to the line because the ball was coming that way. I really can't speak about the decisions, the umpires, they made their call, but I just did not feel like anything was wrong with the play. That was what Gary Sanchez said after the game last night. And I think he's absolutely right. He was in front of the plate, and then the ball took him across the line to home plate. I mean, don't you have to let the catcher decide? You know, he could play, I guess he could play it in front of home plate, but it might be a much harder hop. Like you'd have to short hop it. You go and you get the ball where you know you're going to get the best hop. That's instinct. There's no rule that says you can't do that. You can go behind anywhere you want to go get the ball. If the throw takes you there, and it did, you can go and get the ball and make the tag. It was just such an easy call for everybody, for the home plate umpire, for the replay official. It was such an easy call. It was such a dumb challenge by Gabe Kapler, which turned out to be, of course, the game-winning challenge by Gabe Kapler. But there was really no evidence that would show that you would ever make that call or overturn that call in home plate.
I think Woodsy said it best in our 6 o'clock hour. The fact that Gabe Kapler had the balls and knew the wherewithal to know that his guy was out by 20 feet.
Could still win,
but I can still get this run.
I can still get
still hasn't touched home plate. I can get this run by challenging. That says all you need to know about that rule.
That's all I need to know about you.
Yeah. Terrible.
Got a hit though too. Okay.
We'll have Eno Saris joining us at the bottom of the hour. I mean, it's silly, but like the two biggest rule discussions this year, sticky stuff and a weird blocking the rule plate. We've lost the thread here. Major League Baseball.
We have lost lost the time.
We've really lost
This is
the thread.
MLB's was it a catch rule? Like
Yeah,
the NFL.
yeah, that's exactly right. It is.
That plagued the NFL for a couple of years.
Still does.
And it still does. Was it a catch? Well,
It was a football move.
It was a football
What in
move.
the world? He made a football move. Not the football move.
But
that I wanted him
but
to
now I feel like I know it's not a catch. In like
quickly before we go to break. This is a great point. I meant to bring this up. Marco says, "How does Kepler get 3 challenges in one?" I've never seen this. When they came out, they go, "The Giants are challenging the play at first base, the slide." I'm like, whoa! You
can challenge everything on a play if you use a challenge on the same play. Now, if you lose the challenges, you lose your challenge. And the umpire goes, "Yeah, they lost this challenge and they lost that challenge, and San Francisco gets to keep their challenge." What?
Yeah,
I think he misspoke. I hope he misspoke.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, he said, yeah, the runner
the challenge was slide in the
slide
second.
was that interference is no. That the call is upheld.
You lost that
the
one.
call at first is upheld. The runner is safe, and San Francisco keeps their challenge. But
that's what he said.
But you got both of them wrong. You lose your challenge. He said they keep their challenge.
Probably misspoke.
I think he misspoke.
He must have. That's fantastic.
Jesse said they were meeting in between the innings and maybe to discuss taking the challenge away because that they had misspoke or something.
Yeah.
They never challenged again after that, so I don't know what the actual ruling was. We got to take a timeout. We'll come back. Eno Saris is going to join us in just a few minutes. More of your phone calls as well. 833-288-0973. Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after traffic. 97.3 The Fan. Someone was it during our member stream last night? Welcome back. Ben and Woods with you. Eno Saris coming up in just a couple of minutes. Was it during our member YouTube stream last night that someone compared the Padres to the Los Angeles Angels?
Oh, yeah.
High price talent, but underachieving and not making the playoffs. And I said, oh, that's not fair. Padres went to the NLCS last year. The Angels haven't gone to the postseason in how many years has it been? Since I don't even know. Trout's only played like,
I think he's had like
3 postseason games in his entire career. But I think it's fair when you look at kind of how the Angels feel like they've been cursed a lot recently and things that happen and weird stuff. I mean, yesterday's game in Anaheim very much felt like a Padres loss. Shohei Ohtani, 12 strikeouts, a lot of excited superstars that get you excited, but ultimately in the final score, they lose 2-0. They just couldn't get anything going, couldn't come up with a big hit when they needed one, had a runner thrown out at the plate in that game yesterday, and the Dodgers got a 2-0 shutout. They had 7 different pitchers. They had a bullpen day. And the Angels have Ohtani striking out 12. And you feel like, all right, didn't the Padres just go through this twice this week against the Giants? You should dominate those games. You're the Angels, and you're going with Shohei Ohtani striking out 12 against a bullpen day. You dominate on a day like that.
I agree.
And instead, Freddie Freeman hits a solo shot in the 4th inning. That's all that Shohei gave up. And the Angels end up losing that game. They find ways to lose. And right now the Padres are like the Angels in that they're finding ways to lose like that, even when superstars come through. Even when Fernando hits a home run, has a big game on Monday, the Padres find a way to lose the game somehow. It's that is above all, the most frustrating part of all of this.
Yeti in the chat says, in my opinion, the main difference is the owner meddles in the way, but here it's someone else besides the owner. So yeah, I mean the owner of the Angels, Artie Moreno, notorious meddler.
We can get into it. There was a social media thread about what's going on behind the scenes with the San Diego Padres, and I do think that there is definitely
there's
room
enough
for there's enough
smoke.
There needs to be some evaluation going on and maybe a redoing of the way you do business. I don't necessarily think you need to clean house if you're the Padres, but you have to continue to evaluate how you're doing things and if you're doing things the best way. I don't think the culture is why the Padres are losing games. I really don't. It's the same culture that they had last year. There's no difference between the culture at last season when they were on a run and went to the NLCS and the culture now. The only difference is they're losing, so everyone's in a bad mood. And last year they were winning, so everyone was in a good mood.
What are you determining the culture? Is it the AJ Preller
Yeah,
era?
yeah,
Is
it's AJ Preller.
Bob Melvin era?
AJ Preller didn't change.
You're
the way
highlighting 1 year out of.
But AJ Preller didn't change the way he ran the team. Now, if you want to say that last year was just an aberration, or
fluke.
They won in spite of bad management, bad general managing by AJ Preller. That's fine, but you have to include that in your data set. That they clearly know how to win ball games with AJ Preller as GM, Bob Melvin as manager. They can get hot at the right time. They can hit with runners in scoring position. They can win close games, 1-run ball games. They can win in extra innings. They got walk-off wins. It's the same culture as last year. Nothing really has changed fundamentally about who the Padres are from 2022 to 2023.
Last year happened, but that's 1 year out of 8 years. 2020 doesn't count. We all know that. I mean, it's been 7 atrocious years and 1 good year.
Yeah, and I thought the thread was somebody texted to me last night, and it's the second time I've seen it. It's not like we don't hear this stuff too. I mean, it's not like I brought up earlier. I mean, Kevin Acee reported fissures. Yeah, you hear fissures, and you hear stuff. And it's small town. It's a really small town.
Are there people inside the Padres organization who don't like the way AJ Preller runs things? Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are there people that used to work here that don't like it? Sure, 100%.
Are there people in the Dodgers organization who probably don't like the way things are run? Yes, that happens in every organization.
Not here. I love everything about how Odyssey operates.
No problems whatsoever.
Zero.
Just our big boss Michael was right in the other room. Looking through the window.
Looking at me. That's why I know. Said it. This is perfect.
He pointed at Woods. He was behind you. He pointed at you and went.
This is a perfect situation.
Do the Reds have an amazing culture?
They do.
And that's
now.
why they've won 11 in a row.
They do.
That's the thing. I mean, you look at the wins and losses. You look at the standings. You look at the streak, and you make a judgment on the culture of an organization. Reds have had one of the worst franchises for the last decade. They have changed nothing other than fire sailing some of their best talent away. They've won 11 in a row. They haven't changed their culture over the last 11 games.
They've developed some players.
They injected an exciting young player into their lineup.
More than one.
Yeah,
more than one. They've injected. They've developed quite a few players that have come up, and it's on the pitching front. Of course, Ellie De La Cruz. They've lost guys and been able to reel off 11 wins in a row, and you see it. And then sometimes it is an aberration. Pirates are in the tank right now after starting really
nine
hot.
in a row.
9 in a row. I think their culture's pretty good. It's a subjective thing, but it does pop. It rears its ugly head when the team is mired in not just a bad week, not a bad 2 weeks, not a bad 3 weeks, a bad few months to start the season, a really inconsistent thing. And I do think you can win. You can absolutely loathe the guy right next to you, as Ben does me. We still win. We absolutely still win. But baseball's different.
My loathing is not absolute. I promise.
It's not. Yeah,
it's not
it's
absolute.
fleeting.
I know. Yeah,
it's fleeting. It's a fleeting loathing. It comes in waves. But it's like a marriage. I mean, we all on sunshine 24 hours a day.
Yes. Yes, we are.
You might be listening right now.
Exactly.
It's but it's
sorry.
What?
I was
No,
just gonna-
I saw the thread. Hey, listen, I thought it was genius. I thought it was really good work.
Let's get to a break. Eno's ready on the other end. Smart baseball. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about the play last night and more. We'll get to that stuff more in our 9 o'clock hour as well with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sarah 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Smart and Final. Smart and Final's got your whole 4th of July cookout, from snacks to burgers to drinks and more, at prices that are worth celebrating. Get it all in one trip, and that's it. Got Eno Sarris standing by. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about last night's call at home plate in the Padres-Giants game. Get to Eno right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. And as we welcome in the Athletics' Eno Sarris, I said earlier, Eno, that we've been talking about sticky stuff and now very hard to understand, or maybe impossible to understand, plate blocking rules, even for the people who are administrating the rule. Major League Baseball's lost the thread a little bit here, if that's what everyone's talking about.
I mean, one of my least favorite things about watching football, which I watch less and less often, is that they have to spend like as long as the play lasted explaining what happened. They have to have a rules expert in the booth to be like, well, actually, we don't know what a catch is, but we think it's this.
It's absurd.
So that's, we're getting a little bit of the footballification of baseball with this. And I watched it, and I saw plenty of even Giants commenters saying, they didn't understand it. They thought it was a weird call. And I mean, the way that they were explaining it, does the catcher can't be in the base pass. He can't be in foul ground. He can't be on the plate. It's like the catcher has to catch it at the pitching mound and run to home plate or something,
It's a race.
Are we going to start drawing more lines around the baseball field where it's like, here you can be and here you can't be?
I'm just thinking now of the idea of Jesse and Tony tossing to a baseball Mike Pereira with here's a baseball Mike Pereira to explain what just happened on this last call here. Mike, what was your ruling on that play?
Yeah, it's
exactly.
And it's tough. It's a fine line we all walk, right? Because what do we want more than anything in baseball? We want accuracy, as far as balls, strikes, and while I acknowledge that it's a very difficult job, I think the umpires, man, they have personal beefs. They do. They're human. They are human beings, and they have they don't like to be chirped. And if they're chirped, you're going to get a call that goes against you. And I want accuracy. It's going to be tough, and we've seen baseball move at a snail's pace, right? As far as getting things right with rules and replay and things like that. I mean, what is the solution? And I know you're always thinking about solutions. What is a potential solution for baseball to get more of these calls right?
I mean, I would assume that we were maybe heading towards a clarification of that rule. They do, to their credit, they do try to clarify rules and update rules. The rule book every offseason gets a little bit of a tweak here or there. I'm hoping for, an objective test for sticky stuff rather than the subjective one. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple rule changes in the off season that were smaller, but maybe had a good impact. I would say that the other thing that we want other than accuracy is action. And
yes. Good call.
Anytime that those butt heads, right? Sometimes you have to do a replay to get it accurate and that hurts the action. But, if they made the rules simpler, there wouldn't have to be as many replays, right? So if they just made the rules super simple, then there wouldn't be as much like, oh, well, the catcher did this, or let's replay this. So then plays at the plate, the desire for action is really important because that's a score or not a score. And you want, as a human being, to be able to react to what just happened and be like, oh, he scored, or oh, he did, you know what I mean? And then we're in this weird state with replay where we're like, oh, he might have scored. Let's wait 2 minutes.
And not in that case.
I think Mudd always says, hold all tickets.
Yeah, hold
all tickets.
In the case of last night, it was so obvious. And I will agree with you, man. There are some bang plays. There are some short hops, and a guy's hand goes over the bag. He never touches it, or he comes off by a hair.
When it's a really close call and it goes to replay, I think that's dramatic. That's okay. That's fine.
But
I mean, that one wasn't dramatic.
Oh,
I was railing the entire time during our live stream. Oh, this is dumb. This isn't even close. This is the worst challenge I've ever seen.
A big waste of time.
Yeah,
and the fact that Gabe Kapler knew, I got a decent chance of this getting it overturned, even though my guy was out by 10 feet and still has not touched the plate.
There's a really weird call in the College World Series just yesterday too, where a player was pushed off of the base and tagged out. And it was super obvious to everybody that he'd been pushed off the base. The replay took like 5 minutes, and they came back and called the guy out, and everyone was just like,
lose their minds.
What are you looking at? Like, what is going on? How can you spend 5 minutes and then come up with this answer? So, there's something weird sometimes about replay. And I think it's just that the rule book needs to be clarified. It needs to be as clear as possible because the people in the replay booth are looking at the rule book and they're trying to parse every word in there.
Talking to Eno Saris from The Athletic, our weekly Smart Baseball segment. And last night's call, not the only bad thing that's happened to the Padres this week. They also had 2 walk-off losses on Monday and Tuesday, both times when the bullpen couldn't hold on to a lead. And it sparked a couple of discussions between Woods and I, Eno, about high leverage situations versus kind of mop-up time for relievers. And, Padres actually have a bullpen that is, I think, 4th best bullpen ERA in baseball. But Woods was trying to look into more of the numbers about like during the high leverage moments, though, guys aren't as good. In what you've looked at, how big of a deal is high leverage versus, hey, I'm coming in with, a 4-run lead or a 4-run deficit?
I mean, it is a big deal. A lot of times you're facing better players, so that's a big deal. I've also noticed that batter behavior changes in higher leverage situations.
Padres get much worse. We know that.
But in terms of like swing rates and stuff, like batters sometimes swing less in the 9th than they do in the 8th, as an example. As they're trying to set up a rally or whatever it is, or just see the ball really well. So and then the 10th and 11th, swing rates go through the roof when everybody's trying to win the game with one swing. So the batter behavior changes in high leverage situations. A lot of times you're facing better players. I mean, there's some meaning to that, but then there's also just the randomness. I don't know how much stock I'd put in that. I would say that the last couple of nights, you just run into a super hot team, and the Padres have gotten super close. I mean, like a walk-off loss like that just means that, if things had bounced the other way, if a call had gone the other way, the game would have gone the other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I've made that argument 1,000 times this season, unfortunately.
You have. It's a ridiculous world, when the Cincinnati Reds can reel off 11 wins in a row, and the San Diego Padres' longest winning streak is 3. You could have taken my house and my car from me if you bet me that at the beginning of the year. I was saying easy money.
And there was also it seemed to be momentum going where they either won or tied all of their series going into this one with the Giants.
Yeah.
They'd won or tied all their series since late May. So, it did seem like maybe they weren't reeling off the 11th straight, but they were, getting right. And if you look at the offense in the last 14 days, it's a top 10 offense again. So, there's definitely some stuff coming together. Manny looks a little better at the plate. And there's a chance it's coming together. But one thing that was interesting I noticed about this offense is they go to the opposite field more than almost anyone in baseball.
They do?
I know
that surprised me as well.
I'm flabbergasted because all I hear maybe
everyone's saying they need to go the other way
Go
more.
Oppo,
They're just
go
trying to
Oppo.
hit home runs and pull the ball all the
Yeah.
time. Is at least what you hear from the fan base as you're watching.
they are 25th in the big leagues in pull rate. They are
Nothing about
bottom-
this
I
team
think
makes
they're
sense.
sort of bottom half in barrel rate. You know.
Yeah.
You know, they're not slugging it out there, and but they've still managed to put together good at bats. What they are doing is not striking out. So in fact, if there is a narrative that they're just striking out and pulling and going for homers, maybe the opposite is true.
There
like
is.
maybe they
I
could
started
do
it.
that a little bit more.
I think I started it. Like I'm watching them. I'm watching. What's an you probably know this off the top of your head. What's an average strikeout for a team in Major League Baseball a night? What's the average like Major League?
Oh, wow! I know that by percentage. I don't know about by number. Like the strikeout rate right now is around 23%.
Okay,
so
like
something less than a quarter of their at bats.
Yeah. So probably about 7 to 8. My guess would be 40 at bats around a night, depending on how many hits, 35 to 40. So that would equate to about 7 to 8 strikeouts. I would think per game would be the average for a major league offense.
This is wild. We're talking to Eno Sarris in the Athletic. This is wild because I'm sitting here going, Eno just told me they go Oppo a lot and they don't strike out much. In my mind, I'm like, all they do is try to pull the ball. All they do is strike out. Like
that's why numbers, your brain lies to you a lot.
And
That's
your
why,
eyes,
Eno,
your
and
eyes.
That's why it's so valuable.
You see a couple rollover pulls in the big moments when all you wanted was them to, sneak a single to the other side. Your brain remembers like sort of high leverage stuff more, and remembers like, how the game ends rather than like that thing that happened in the second inning that was also kind of important.
So true.
You
So very true. This is why we have Eno Sarris on. This right here is
This is why a lot of people want Eno Sarris to start working for the Padres.
I know,
we
man.
get more calls every single week about how the Padres need to hire Eno Sarris to help turn things around. You're much beloved by a frustrated Padres fan base. I'll tell you that.
Well, there's also a weird thing going on with the park factor in San Diego, where the park is playing more pitcher friendly in the last couple of years. And so I wonder if these things are related, if they're kind of letting the ball travel, trying to put the ball in play, partially because their home park doesn't reward slugging the way it used to. So that's something that's on my plate to look into in the next couple of weeks.
San Francisco, where they are right now, is the perfect example of a team that has made it work despite being in a pitcher friendly ballpark, and they've done it consistently.
They barrel the ball. They look to hit for power. They're always leading the league in what they lead the league in is not chasing, not swinging at balls, and barreling the ball, which it's a good approach there. And they do it despite having a park that you can't hit the ball out of, really.
Which is exactly, by the way, Padres fans, what the Padres trying to do. They're trying not to swing at chasing pitches, and they're trying to barrel the ball. They're not having as much success as we'd like them to have. But when everyone says the Padres have a bad approach, Eno is basically telling you, you're wrong. The Padres have a good approach. They're not executing it fully, but the approach the Padres have is exactly what they should be doing, is kind of what I'm hearing here.
I hate this sport.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty big debate in baseball about how much you should let the ball travel and go for contact, and how much you should try to pull the ball and hit for power. So, I think it's something that you have to kind of figure out player to player. But obviously, like for example, Soto is himself pulling the ball more than he usually does. But he's also, did you know Soto is hitting the ball harder on average than anybody else in baseball?
Nope.
Got the highest hard hit rate in baseball.
Sure didn't. I'm glad you did.
So there's definitely, what I would say is generally there's definitely a lot of good things going on under the hood. And
we keep hearing
anytime they can get to 5 runs, they usually win.
Yeah,
So,
that's been like the magic number for this team. You get 5 runs, you feel pretty good about it. We haven't done that. We haven't done that this week. So
you both give me hope, and make me die
And
a
take it
little
away.
inside.
Yeah.
It's really weird, the combination. Your information affects me viscerally in this segment every single week. But we love having you on and always appreciate
That's
it, man.
baseball.
That's baseball. And thank you again for your time. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks for having me.
That was Eno Saris, sponsored by 7 Mile Casino, featuring all of your favorite table games like California-style blackjack, poker, and baccarat. Just 7 minutes from the ballpark.
Get your head around that, Padres fans. Padres go the other way more than most teams in baseball. They pull the ball less. They strike out less. They hit the ball harder, than most. Juan Soto hits the ball harder than anybody.
He did say their barrel rate's pretty low. They need to
He
barrel.
did,
They need to barrel. But
Soto hits the ball harder than anybody.
In my mind,
your eyes don't tell you any of these things that the numbers tell you.
In my mind, all I see is Soto feebly rolling over to first base. But I know that's not the case. I know it's not.
The brain does deceive, that's for sure. Eno and all of our guests appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet find new roads. Also, this hour on Ben and Woods brought to you by South Norte Tequila Cocktails. Savor South Norte, Mexican-inspired premium tequila cocktails made with real tequila and real juice. Sip on a classic margarita, an authentic Paloma, or crack open a Matador or the Mexican Mule. Pick yours up at Stater Brothers, Ralph's, Costco, and more. All right, 1 hour still to go. We'll get to some of those issues about culture and behind the scenes with the Padres with some new social media chatter. I don't necessarily think it's like a devastating reveal of what's going on. It's potentially problematic for the Padres for sure.
Sure.
We'll get to that and a Rhino report. Get some headlines from Paulie ahead. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Thursday. Just one more day, and then it's Friday. And then, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm tired.
No, it's the weekend. It's not ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired. It's ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
I was more tired this morning than yesterday morning, fresh off that concert on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It's the next day that really gets you.
That's why I always call Tired Tuesday. Monday, I'm fine. You get up early, you're good to go. Then you go through Monday and you get up Tuesday. That's when it really hits you. That's when it hits you. Don't forget, you can join Gwynn and Chris tomorrow when the Padres return home. Quick 3-game homestand against the Nationals. And Gwynn and Chris are going to be broadcasting live starting at 2 o'clock at Bootlegger downtown. Find Bootlegger at the corner of 8th and Market. They'll be there until the start of the Padres Nationals game, or at least Sammy's pregame show. And you can stop by all afternoon and through the game for Coors Light drafts, $6 drafts, and $25 buckets of Topo Chico seltzers. You can also win Padres tickets, Guns N' Roses tickets as well. It's all brought to you by Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment, keeping San Diego chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Woodsy, you're going to the game tomorrow? I'm going to the game tomorrow.
I am.
Try to hopefully they'll be coming off a win today, and you can get the Nationals, who are, I believe, now the team with the worst record in the National League, get them at home and hopefully start a winning streak. How many times have we said that this year? Weekly plea to the Padres to, hey, you got a winnable series, you got a team. Hey, let's not just take 2 out of 3. Let's sweep them and start a winning streak. You heard that before once or twice this year, Padres fans?
Honestly, man, when 3 games in a row happen like this, yeah, we were all encouraged when they beat the Rays twice, but when 3 games in a row happen like this, and you look at it, and you know the things start being tweeted, and people start talking, your DMs fill up a little bit, and you know you got a former employee on the Dan Le Batard show talking about a toxic environment. Boy, the fear that I talked about yesterday, the fear that they won't right the ship, the fear that they'll never win a World Series, the fear that guys are going to break down, the fear that everyone's going to forget how to hit or pitch or get old in front of our eyes. And it's a lot. It's almost too much to deal with sometimes. So again, I really got to get my mindset back into the let's just go 1-0 bit, which really works for me as a viewer. Like, win today's game, and then let's see what happens and reevaluate and get ready for tomorrow. But I've gone away from that, certainly, and I think the Padres have too, and I think the fans definitely have, just because you just expect this team to rip off a bunch of wins in a row, and I am so surprised it hasn't happened yet. Honestly, I'm confounded as to why it hasn't. And that's when people start to look at bigger potential issues with the team and how it's run. And then you look at you hear things and from people that, you know, cover the minor leagues and stuff. And you go, well, what do we, we've got 30-year-olds at AA right now. Where is the development? Where is our Ellie De La Cruz? Where is our Matt, what the hell's the guy's name? Ben Joyce. Where are our guys coming up to help push this team? Bob Melvin has talked before many times about you don't need 26 guys to win a World Series. You need 50. We don't have 50. We don't have 26.
Well, they traded, 4 of them away for Juan Soto.
Sure.
Last year, James Wood, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore.
Right.
I mean, you had some of those guys and you traded them away, which is a valid strategy to try to improve your team, but you are going to be exposed down in the depths of your minor leagues. Now they're trying to build it up again. They got some drafted arms that are Snelling has impressed, early,
years old.
But they're younger. Obviously, it takes time to build those guys back up. You can do whatever you want in development. The one thing you can't do is speed up the clock on players. Ethan Salas will still be 17 for another 352 days or whatever it is, how long it is until his next birthday. You can't speed up the clock on the development of players. You have to be patient with teenagers before they can get to the big leagues.
Sure. But you can develop
you can't go back in time, though.
No.
It would have been nice if 4 years ago Padres had developed 5 or 6 more guys who were knocking at the door, but the ones that they did develop 4 or 5 years ago, they've traded away, and now they're trying again to develop those guys. But you can't can't do anything about it now other than try to develop those guys that are currently in. Most people say the last couple drafts AJ have had been pretty good, but they're not going to help the Padres now at the big league level. It's going to take some time. There are some things you could do that you might want to change immediately, though. Talking about that thread about culture and, AJ being a meddler. We've both heard that before. AJ likes to put his finger in everything in the organization. It's not a damning criticism of a manager that he cares about everything that's going on in his organization. A lot of people will tell you, though, to be a good leader, you also have to let your people, do their jobs and not be looking over their shoulders all the time. But it's not a 100% indictment of someone that they really are working all the time and they maybe do too much in their job.
It is when it doesn't work.
Yeah, it is when it doesn't work.
Right.
That's when it's an indictment. But why do the Padres have such a bad percentage on challenges? They're like 20% this year. What's going on those decisions? Is the process right there? That's something you can look at in the front office and try to figure out, because it's not on Bob Melvin. It says Bob Melvin's 20% on challenges. Bob Melvin stands in a hole in the ground below the field
and wait.
He can't even see the play. There's no monitor for him to look at. He just waits for in the dugout.
No, they have to call.
Yeah. He doesn't get to see it at all. Bob Melvin is not making that decision other than someone back there says yes or no. Bob could say, yeah, you think it's 50%. Well, we're not going to challenge here. We're going to save our challenge. That's the extent of Bob Melvin's involvement in the challenges. Why is it so bad? What's going on? Is the process correct for, relaying down that information? The person who's looking at the video screens, you might be able to do something about that immediately and improve in that way.
Yeah, the culture topic is a tough one. It is, because you can win without great culture, but great culture certainly can help you win. It's kind of a little I'm trying to think of the teams that have had great culture, right? And you see them win a lot of ball games. It's hard to do.
I mean, the Giants of the 2010s.
Yeah.
Strike me as a great culture team.
I agree.
You know what? If I was trying to create a culture, I would want a player base that really wants to win for the organization, for the fan base, for the city. I don't get the sense that that's not true with the Padres. I think players want to win for Peter. I think they like Peter Seidler as an owner a lot. And from what I've seen, I think they mostly like AJ a lot. And I think they like Bob, and they want to win for those guys. So the three guys who are directly above the players, in the chain of command, their manager, their GM, and their owner. I feel like Padres players want to win for their guys. And I feel they want to win for the fans, that they have respect for the fans and for the city they play in. So in that sense, I think the culture is good.
Do they want to win for each other?
I don't know about that.
I don't either.
But I do think they want to win for the city and want to win for the fans and want to win for Bob. And everything I've seen, the players usually seem to like AJ a lot. Well, he gives out huge contracts to them.
Yeah,
that tends to make people like people. We'll continue this discussion after some headlines from Paulie.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul. All right.
Two stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a
All right.
All right.
Paulie, take me away.
All right.
Like Calgon.
I love those
Calgon
commercials.
commercial?
Calgon. Take me.
Paulie, you are my Calgon.
It's like a bubble bath. What was
Yeah,
that?
it's a bubble bath.
Yeah. it's bubble
Paulie,
bath.
you are my Calgon. So I'm
Okay.
going to put my feet up, and Paulie, take me away.
Let's start a little locally here, both locally and globally. The Women's World Cup. We're just about a month away. I think exactly a month away, actually, from Team USA's first game. They will be playing Vietnam The tournament is in Auckland, New Zealand, and Australia this year. So
Okay.
USA's first game is July 22nd, a month away. Yesterday, the roster was announced for the U.S. women's national team, and 2 members of the San Diego Wave will be playing for Team USA. Alex Morgan, of course, and defender Naomi Girma.
Yep.
Yeah, they both
say
got
that
chosen.
correctly?
I think that's correct. Yes.
So that is there's your rooting interest. If you weren't sure exactly who was going to be on the roster, who to follow, but you like the Wave and the local soccer scene.
Women's
those two-
World Cup is electric. The World Cup,
it's amazing.
I
the
love
World-
watching. Yeah, I love
the
watching the
World
Women's
Cup.
World Cup.
I really fell in love with the World Cup.
It's
much
like
to my surprise.
it's like the Men's World Cup, except we have a chance to win.
yeah, but yes,
Yeah.
and better. It's better. Like it was better quality years ago when they won. It was amazing. So I'm all in. Scarf me up, dude. Scarf.
I think
me up.
Girma just got an extension from the Wave as well, so she'll be sticking around.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alex Morgan's the face of the team here, representing San Diego. So 2 you can cheer for directly, both for Team USA, cheer for the colors, and cheer for San Diego at the same time.
It says here July 20th is the start of the tournament of the World Cup. That's a Thursday next month. That'll be New Zealand and Norway, but Team USA gets started on the 22nd.
I'd go cover that live if you want to do some shows from New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to see New Zealand.
What's your New Zealand accent?
You've been
How
New
does that-
Zealand.
yeah.
How does New Zealand differ from your
I
Australian
don't know.
accent?
It's pretty similar, isn't it?
Fairly similar. Yeah, it's beautiful. I actually had a better time in New Zealand than I did in Australia. Not that Australia was bad by any stretch, but Auckland
A
and
little greener
and,
in New Zealand.
which I remembered a lot of that trip.
Why don't you remember?
I was young. I was
Oh.
20. Well, I was like in my 20s.
Okay.
You know what that consisted of.
I mean, not like you weren't like 4.
No.
You can't remember. It was
No,
like
no.
Yeah.
All right, what
My
do you,
brain's a little pickled.
you will like this next one. I told you about this story a couple months ago when it was all coming together. Slam ball, the
I love-
return of slam ball,
love
the
slam ball.
trampoline basketball phenomenon from you'd be watching ESPN at 1 a.m. back in the day to get it.
Many nights.
And it was so much fun to watch.
It's twice as exciting as the NBA.
Yes, you watch that and you're like, my God, I wish I could do
You're
that.
like, these guys are athletes.
So a couple months ago, we talked about the revival of slam ball was in the works, and yesterday they announced their media rights deal, and it's going to be back on ESPN. Play begins on July 21st, and so we're about a month away. ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus during the next 2 seasons, and the trampoline-based basketball sport is back.
I sometimes miss the days of the early ESPN when they just had the janky. I turned on rodeo in the middle of the night.
Lumberjack. The lumberjack competition was
Australian
incredible.
rules football. They
Yeah.
just have the weirdest stuff on, but it was so cool that there was sports on TV. I would watch it, even though they had no.
Now
They
they
didn't
have
have baseball. They didn't have
cornhole.
football. They didn't have anything. They just had the weird stuff. Now, bring back some of make ESPN weird again.
Yeah, I probably still won't watch much of it, but I did when I was younger for sure.
Well,
I was
nowadays,
up later back then.
with the internet being what it is and social media, the clips will go everywhere. You'll see what you want to see. Some
love
just
slam ball.
insane front flip dunk or whatever.
The double bouncing skills are incredible, and to have the stones to
when they got the one guy that's back,
where the one guy shoots up the other guy, he
Yeah.
jumps down to fire up the
to
other.
shoot
yeah.
him up,
Yeah.
and he can go above the rim,
Yeah.
and the ability to say to your friend, your teammate, double bounce the S out of me. It's being double bounced is one of life's more terrifying things that can happen to you. It's when you see your buddy lining up for one against
my knees buckled.
against your will,
Especially if there's a trampoline
Ah!
without a net on the side, you could go
Yes.
off the edge.
Yes.
All right, and then finally, we got breaking news on the story that's just kind of captured the world. The submersive machine that was trying to find the Titanic on Sunday that's been missing.
It's a hoax.
No.
Okay, good.
The
Well,
breaking
maybe
news
I don't
is
know.
that a debris field has been discovered within the search area near the Titanic. That's from the U.S. Coast Guard. And there's going to be a press conference at noon Pacific today. So debris field doesn't sound good, right? I don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened yet.
I don't like this story at all.
I think you could probably just assume that they're probably notifying family members and all that. There were 5 people on board. A debris field is the only update that's happening right now, and that doesn't sound like we found the submarine and we're working on getting people out. Debris field sounds like something bad.
I hate
happened.
it. This story.
It's been awful.
It does, and
it has been so
it's
bad.
sad. Debris field sounds better than trapped at the bottom of the ocean for eternity. If there's an actual, like, maybe the ship just blew up or
Michael
had a malfunction, and
Michael makes good points that they don't even
then
know
it was fast.
if the debris field is from the sub. No, they don't.
Right.
But
No,
they found it
something
in the area.
They had a rover or
When
whatever.
Ben told me, I couldn't stop thinking about it when you told me yesterday that somebody was hearing a banging. And that to me, I just
like sonar waves or whatever.
We've talked before, ways that you're not going to die. I know I will not die parachuting because I'll never do it. I will never be in a homemade sub ever. I'll eat a homemade sub. I will never be in a homemade sub to implode at the bottom of the ocean. It will never happen.
I mean, the updates of the last couple of days have been, hey, they have 40 hours of oxygen left. They have 8 hours of oxygen.
The most disturbing thing
left.
I saw was someone who pointed out, well, they have 4 days of oxygen for 5 people, but they could have 20 days for 1 person if they decided to go that direction, which is just horrifying.
Then you're on a sub with like 4 dead bodies that you murdered just to save your own soul.
That's horrifying again. And
I
who,
hate this, dude.
like, do you make a decision? Like, who do you try to save the kid? There was an 18-year-old aboard. This is just a horrible story.
Yeah, the Coast Guard predicted the air supply would have ran out by now. I think it was like overnight this morning. But it's just, you let your mind wander when you hear the updates and the story. It's so sad. It's terrible. And again, we don't really know what the debris field was. It was found near the Titanic area, and they had a rove machine that was equipped with cameras and sonar, and it was able to successfully hit the ocean floor, and they found a debris field. But if you're interested in the updates, there's a press conference scheduled for about 3 hours.
But Paul, our baseball team has lost 3 close games in a row.
They have.
It's kind of perspective of what's truly awful in life.
I know.
All right, Paulie, thank you.
Oof. So domed by it.
I didn't even want to bring it. It just happened. That update just came by, and again, it's pretty much the biggest story in the world right now.
Culture to blame for the last 3 losses. We'll continue that discussion. You want to join us on the phone lines, the last couple of segments, 833-288-0973. Ben and Woods back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Woods, would you say that of the things that you've heard and seen written about AJ Preller recently, especially, that the vast majority of the criticism seems to be about the behind the scenes operation, not with the players necessarily, but it's more a staff issue of what's going on front office.
Honestly,
and some of the employees of the Padres and former employees of the Padres.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. I've worked at places. I don't have very nice things to say about some of the places I've worked. I don't, or people I've worked with. It's just the nature of the beast. But honestly, Ben, the biggest complaint I see is the lack of development. AJ Preller has gambled a lot, with the future of the team. And I think at the time, the majority of the deals he's done, I don't know that I've been gung-ho about a lot of them, and we all have. And I think it's exciting to certainly cover a team that makes a lot of moves like that. Really easy in hindsight to go back and be like, because honestly, like, a couple of them made you scratch your head and go, oh, man, I'd hate to give up that guy. But then a couple of them made you go, well, I don't care. I've never heard of that guy. Well, then that guy goes on to become, David Bednar or whatever. But there's a million examples. But for me, that's the main complaint I see is there's just not a lot of depth. It does feel a little bit like the number one complaint I see is I could have built this roster with that kind of checkbook. And I go, I can't really.
That's fair, but that's not culture. That's
no, that's continuity.
That's decision making, which
right.
is how every GM should be evaluated.
Sure.
But the stuff about the culture that AJ tough to work for, he'll call at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And,
I saw that stuff.
Do you, as a fan, do you care that your GM can be tough to work for, or do you like the fact that your GM is tough to work for and is, pressing his employees at all hours?
Honestly, as a fan, I mean, I'd hate to work for a guy like that. I'll tell you that.
If it's even true. Again, I don't know. I don't have firsthand knowledge that AJ picked up the phone at 2:30 in the morning and woke a guy up for a minor thing that he just wanted to get taken care of right away.
I'm a psychopath about this show. I've called Paulie, but never at 3 a.m. with some harebrained idea. But I've called Paulie on the way to work. You in the car? Yep. All right, here's what I want to do.
It's a text. Hey, give me a call when you're in the car. Or, hey, I'm going to call you in 10 minutes.
Now, we keep weird hours, so that's kind of but like I feel bad sometimes call Paul at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as I'm walking down to get the mail just to shoot the breeze about tomorrow's show. But it's just something we do. And I don't feel like I don't think Paul would say, God, Woods is such a micromanager, right? Like he's psychotic. I just want to win. So the only thing I care about as a fan, I don't care if the guy.
Well, and it helps. We are winning.
Right. So I don't care if he does nude drum circles as long as they win ball games. I really don't give a rat's ass about anything else but winning a ball game and winning a World Series. That's it. And having a team that I can get behind. And I'll say this team in April, I was ready to mortgage the house on this team in April. Is that on him? It's a results-based business. The results are crap. They're garbage right now.
AJ didn't go on a hype tour before the season, and he wasn't trying to sell the team.
No,
to
you didn't
or the
have
fans.
to. You didn't have to.
He just put the team together.
It
was on us to. We all hyped it up ourselves. We all got excited on our own based on just the moves that we saw being made.
Everyone wants the hot new technology. Everyone wants the hot new GM. Everyone wants what it really boils down to for me is I just want a guy. I want a team that can win baseball games. It's so simple. It really is. I just want to win and win a lot. And I want to be the team that everyone is afraid of playing. That's what I want. I want to be the bullies.
But I know for a fact Peter Seidler wants to win. He wants to win badly.
He has more than proven
I'm quite sure that AJ Preller wants to win and wants to win badly.
How could you not?
I'm quite sure that Bob Melvin, after his history as a manager, he wants to win badly as a skipper. A chance to win a World Series. You don't get many of them. He's got a roster that he constantly tells us that he thinks we can do this. We've got the players to do this. We just need to go out and get it done and get over the hump. So he believes and wants to win.
What is the ideal fan to be? What is the ideal baseball team to be a fan of?
What's the ideal team to be a fan?
Who is the ideal? Like, we've got prospects. I love our GM. We are winning on the field. We've got, is it the Braves? It's probably the Braves.
Probably the
now.
Braves right now.
Yeah. And you look at that now. There's 29 other teams.
The
where
Astros have had a lot of success, but there's a lot of problems.
There's a ton of
there.
problems
Yeah.
there. There's a ton of
The
problems.
Dodgers are, for the most part, very well run, but they're still the Dodgers.
Even still, Ben, the Dodgers have you can't look at what the Dodgers have done
without their playoff failures
and tell me that they haven't underachieved. They absolutely have, and that's been under Roberts. That's been under Friedman. And I saw the thread, and I saw, well, Friedman only delegates. He talks to 3 people all day. Okay, that works for him. This has not worked. This hasn't worked. AJ's tried a couple different things. I think we've all been supportive of them at the time. But it's not working. It's not working anymore. It's just it's not working. At least to this point in the season, it's not working. So, but again, it's much to my surprise that it's not working. I didn't have any grand delusions at the beginning of the season that it wasn't going to work. I'm flabbergasted that it hasn't worked. I really am. I expected more from every guy on this roster. I really have.
All right, I see some callers on the line. We will get to you in our final segment, 833-288-0973. Don't forget all guests on Ben and Woods up here on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. And when we come back, I'll tell you the one thing I am definitely 100% looking for in this afternoon's game against the Giants. That's next on 97.3 The Fan. Sauer 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Hamul Casino. Looking for a genuinely awesome job? Hamul Casino is looking for you. If you're a fun, positive person over 18, check out their job fair today, this afternoon, 1 to 4 p.m. They offer competitive pay, generous benefits, plenty of team member perks. Learn more at hamulcareers.com. All right, one thing that I want to see today from the San Diego Padres, and if I don't see it, I might scream after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Not too bad of a wrap-up for a morning drive. They just got a stalled vehicle out of middle lanes on northbound 163 past Friars Road. Westbound side of the 8, just before the 15, reports of a stalled vehicle in the center divide. And in the North County, crash clearing on southbound 15, right before Deer Springs Road. Everything's over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
The one thing I don't want to see today from the Padres is Xander Bogaerts batting fourth.
Correct.
I'm okay if you get him the day off. I'm okay if you put him lower in the lineup somewhere. But
if you hit him lead off.
if they continue just to roll him out in that same spot after Tatis, Soto, and Manny, it's not working right now.
No, it's not.
He is 0 for his last 12 with runners in scoring position. He was 0 for 4 last night. Every single time he came up, there was a runner at second base. Did not bring them in. Xander Bogaerts sitting there in the cleanup spot right now is killing the Padres. And of course, they need to get Xander going. He needs to be a part of the success of this team going forward. But just to keep throwing him out there in the same spot and expecting a different result is not working right now. That's the first thing I change for today's game. Coming in with a 3-game losing streak and feeling like you can't get swept in a 4-game series by a division rival here. You got to get this one this afternoon.
Yeah, and we're talking about micromanagement and stuff from the front office maybe, and I don't know. I'm always, we always have seen and romanticized Moneyball, and you're talking about Art Howe and Billy Beane, and Art's saying, "Bro, no, I'm not. He's not a first baseman. Play him at first. He can't field. I don't care about his fielding. He can't hit. I don't care about his hitting. I need him to walk." You do wonder if when you see stuff like that, is like, hey, this is the most optimal lineup for this team as it stands, and this will get them going and everything else. If that's the case, like I do agree that in the game of baseball today, you need a blend of old school and you need a blend of analytics. You can't go all or nothing. You can't have that. You need a little bit of feel and you need a little bit of personality. How guys are feeling, et cetera, et cetera. And I have always thought that the lineup card belongs to the manager. It should. I don't know that that's not the case here. I have my suspicions. Everybody.
I would also think
things.
a good manager would want the input and the numbers that he can get, the information from the front office to put together the best lineup. But I agree with you that ultimately, though, the manager has to have that feel. He's there on the day-to-day. He's got to have the feel of the lineup card. It can't just be spit out by a computer.
Yeah, and
every day.
And I can almost promise you that Jace Tingler probably never once got to make his own lineup. Never once did he say, "Here's what I'm thinking. I'd like to throw so-and-so in the leadoff." And he's really, I talked to him. I feel like I watched his BP. He's getting dialed in. Let's put him in the 2. Probably never happened. Now, Bob Melvin comes with a track record, a resume, some awards, for manager of the year and things like that. Played the game at the highest level for many, many years. That's a guy that you hire him so you don't have to mess around with him. That's why you hire him. You want him to tinker with the team. That's why you have Tingler and that's why you have Green. You hire Bob Melvin to say, "Hey, buddy, I got my own stuff to worry about. I got to rebuild this farm. Go manage the team. I'm out." I wish that was the case. I can't say with 100% accuracy it's not, but I have my suspicions.
Is there even an old school in baseball anymore? I don't know that it exists. I mean, you see this lawsuit, 17 former MLB scouts say they are discriminated against because of their age. They're all 55 to 71.
Yeah.
And they say, they have acted to prevent the reemployment of older scouts in baseball. The new young guard, the statistical sabermetric crowd is pushing out the older guys. They say their salaries were depressed in this lawsuit that Rob Manfred is a defendant in. You brought up Moneyball. The first thing, if I'm the lawyer, I play is the scene from Moneyball with Billy Beane around the table with the old guys and go, this is what baseball is like nowadays. They don't respect any of the older guys. Yeah,
who's Fabio?
This is how they think of us nowadays, and it's turned into discriminatory behavior by Major League Baseball. I'm sure this is going to be a long drawn out lawsuit, but that was some of the news this week. Let's get to some phone calls. Our final 10 minutes. We got some callers on the line. Let's go to Jamie in San Ysidro. You're next up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Good, man. Oh, that's my umpire friend, Jamie. I know that voice.
Yeah,
you're on thin ice already. Your entire
you know me. Yeah,
you're in,
you know me, Woodsy. I'm on the umpire side 99% of the time. The
you
umpire
and
made
your
the right
all
call.
brethren are on thin ice. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Replay officials
blew it.
Totally botched that. I don't know how you take away an out like that, and it's the call in the field's out. The umpire's right.
Yes.
And this guy decides, well, no, that's a structured ball. It's way up the line. And you see Bob Melvin say, throws up the line. The umpire then says, you can't argue replay, but it's not our call. And Bob says, I don't care. And he got tossed.
Yeah.
But he's right. The replay official was way off. I can't believe they overturned that. I'm disappointed in our profession.
As an umpire, if you're in that situation, do you kind of go under your breath to Bob Melvin?
I'm sorry, dude.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I agree with you, but I got to throw you out. Sorry. Jamie, thank you for the call. All right, there's some good umpires still out there.
He's the best.
They're not all bad. Let's go to Magic next up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. You like Jamie?
I love Jamie.
Hey, Magic, how you doing?
Magic. It's a great name.
Good morning, guys. Hey, I've always said this. I came out here in '82 in the military, in the Navy, and I came from the Pittsburgh area, so I'm still a Steeler fan, Pirate fan.
Yeah.
I became a Giant fan in '92 when Barry Bonds came out, through free agency. But I've always said this: there's a few jobs in this country, this world, that are underpaid. Law enforcement, military,
teachers.
It's got to be San Diego sports jobs, San Diego radio host, because you guys have the toughest job in the world. I just think the city is snake bitten. I mean, you finally have a team on paper that could contend for the next 5-6 years, and they can't get it together.
Yeah.
You lost your Chargers. There's not an NBA basketball team. You're still fighting for a civic center. And you guys do an outstanding job. You're underpaid, underappreciated. And I just, you guys entertain me every day I get to work because I just feel so sad for San Diego sports fans. It must be hell. It really must be hell.
It's tough, but there's way worse jobs, way worse jobs than this. Certainly, I get to talk baseball with my friends and lament with my friends, and banter back and forth and have some fun at Ben's expense mostly. And
would Magic like a job as a Ben and Woods publicist?
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I liked that call. That was really fun.
That was really great.
I agree with Woods. You know what? The last few days have been tough.
Yeah.
And mostly just because nothing really changes. It's the same story every day. I love coming in and telling a new story. The fact that the Padres got screwed on the umpire's call actually was a bit of a, for content was good. At least it gives us something different to talk about other than a bullpen that blew a lead in the ninth inning again. It's better to have a new topic than the same topic day after day that gets stale. For the most part, being in sports is great because there is new topics and new stories and things you have never seen happening every single day across the spectrum in sports, even with the San Diego Padres. The last couple of days, it's been a little rough just because, they can't hit with runners in scoring position. Oh, the bullpen is thin and threadbare and couldn't get the job done. Well, we did that show yesterday.
And the day before.
I was happy. We did the blame game on Tuesday morning. Took a ton of calls. Yesterday we didn't take any calls, and we did a completely different spin on the same show. And today we've talked about the blown call and umpiring, but still 1 for 12 runners in scoring position. The story remains a bit the same as well. For the third straight day.
Yeah, more. I think Ben obviously deserves more credit. You grew up here, you've been through it. I was a fan of a team that won championships, and I've at least experienced that in my lifetime, and that was pretty awesome. And now that I've really gone so far away, I can't stand the majority of the players on that team. I look at this one and I'm like, I'm going to raise my kids to be, I get people all the time going, Woodsy, it's not too late. You can get your kids to and I can't. It's in their DNA right now. They're so in love with the Padres.
Giving me credit for caring about what's happening with San Diego sports teams and being passionate is like giving me credit for breathing.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I'm going to always care of what's happening with the Padres. I'm going to care about the Aztecs. I'm going to care about the Wave and the Loyal. I like I like our sports teams.
Sure.
This is just who I am, how I've always been built. I don't ever see that changing. Now, if the teams leave, I certainly can stop caring about them. So long, Chargers. Don't care about you at all. It was much easier than I thought to stop caring about them.
Yet you,
when they left,
you were telling Charger stories last night on the.
Well, no, I think they're still there. You never really heard that story. You couldn't hear.
And then Rolf Bernerschke came in.
So the story that you missed, on our stream last night was, I was working on Monday at Channel 10, and our teleprompter, our floor director, operator, Veronica, not a sports fan at all, but she says, boy, you're doing these highlights. It just seems so frustrating. Every single loss just seems agonizing and painful, and you do a great job telling the story, but it just sounds horrible. She goes, you used to do that with the Chargers all the time. They would lose in like these crazy ways, like not
especially towards the end.
Yeah,
Garrett.
like not normal ways. They'd have to come up with these bizarre ways where either they're talented, they had the better players, and somehow they did something weird that would lose the game. And
Punt returns.
I said,
and
onside kick.
Vern, you're actually absolutely right. This team feels like those Chargers teams. How are you losing these games? How do you have the number one offense in the football and the number one defense in football,
Can't win a game.
and you can't win a game? That's what this Padres team feels like. It was a very observant point from someone who is not really someone who follows sports. So that was the story that you didn't hear. We're interrupting constantly because your earbuds were not working.
Thought
on
it
our
was
stream
going to
last
be
night.
like you were marveling at Phillip Rivers for playing a
was not.
game on a torn ACL or something.
That was not the story. Let's get,
you can get that here.
Let's
You still get that.
Ray in. Ray, you're next up here on 97.3 The Fan.
Good morning, Ray.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, I just want to chime in, man, and talk about the culture.
Yeah.
And just like you were saying right now, San Diego sports culture in general, man, it's caused a lot of people to kind of have a loser's mentality.
Yes.
And I just, one thing, I'm going to change directions here because there's something I've been wanting to say. With AJ Preller, now I've defended him many times, but I think he really mishandled the whole situation with Tatis. I hate to say it. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I don't think we should have. I don't know. I think the signing of Xander really kind of shook things up a lot. It sent. I'm really proud of Tatis.
A message
for how he. Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, are you saying you wouldn't have committed to him long term in Tatis, or you maybe would have put him back at short, or what?
I mean, now I think we have more. It's cool because it's created like a hybrid type of player now.
Yeah, he's incredible.
We'll be, yeah, dude. I mean, and I could totally see him doing this, but I mean, imagine just mentally having to fight through that.
Yeah.
I mean, first signing of Ha-Seong Kim, kind of saying, hey, we don't really trust you at the shortstop position. We're gonna sign our shortstop for 6 years.
Yeah.
And then and then it's like, oh, you messed up. So
I see where you're going. I see absolutely where you're going.
I like what you said about Tatis. You're basically describing, how the Dodgers say Chris Taylor is such a valuable player for them because they can put him in the infield, short, outfield, whatever. But what if Chris Taylor were really, 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 really good?
Yes,
he's not.
Like really
then you
good.
get Fernando Tatis Jr., who can do all of that at the same time. I like that they're keeping him out and right now.
Yeah,
I think
me
that's
too.
the right thing to do, and he's rewarding them. He's playing as good or better than anyone in baseball. His defense is as good or better than anyone in the outfield right now. I don't think they've mismanaged Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando Tatis Jr.
Not this year.
brought his own problems on himself.
He did.
They didn't mismanage him so much.
Yeah.
They have. To me, that's the biggest success story of the 2023 Padres. How they have worked a player who missed 80 games with a suspension and all of last season with an injury, and made him change a position and have successfully incorporated him back to being the player that he was before. That's a huge win for the front office and the coaching staff. What Fernando Tatis Jr. is doing right now. Correct?
Yeah, I can get behind that. I can, but I can see his point a little bit of like, hey, we're going to sign all these shortstops. And this was years ago. This is before a lot of the things have happened, had happened with Fernando Tatis Jr. It's not an excuse for him. I mean, he's a grown man. These guys are all grown
There's
men.
a reason why no one thought the Padres were going to be in on Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts. So it's that they don't need a shortstop. They got Tatis. They got Cronenworth. They got Kim. Why would you sign a shortstop? And then AJ did it and give the explanation for shortstop infield. We moved defense over. It all sounded good at the time, but ultimately they didn't need the shortstop. No. They could have gotten by without Bogaerts. You could have had Kim there. You could have put Tatis back there. Had a good team. You could have allocated those resources elsewhere. I'm not ready to call the Xander Bogaerts signing a bust.
No, it's been 3 months.
I think he's going to have some times where he absolutely excels with the Padres.
So encouraged.
He's too good of a player.
Well, I
not
was so
to.
encouraged with his start here. He was like the one guy that came here and started well.
And then, he hurt his wrist and he's clearly not himself right now, but he'll be back at some point and he'll be great. Will it help this season? I don't know whether it will be in time to save this season, but the question is, will it be for 8 years, 5 years, 3 years,
1 year?
That is long to be determined. We can't do that today.
Hey, let's go Blake Snell. Stay hot, baby.
Bump day. Sammy Levitt already in house. Pregame show at 11:45 after Coach John Quintera's on for a little bit under 2 hours. We will be back to wrap things up Friday morning, a Friar Friday. Join us at 6 a.m. tomorrow. For Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Talk to you tomorrow on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.